The protagonist is a complete nobody in the gaming world, but during a friendly exhibition match, he manages to defeat the world's top player, leaving everyone in utter shock. It turns out our protagonist does 1,000 sit-ups, 500 push-ups, 500 handstands, and lifts weights for 2 hours every single day. That's because this is a virtual reality game that will later become humanity's second world. In this game, power, wealth, and status are directly tied to reality. While the protagonist is the most powerful thief in the game, a notorious top-tier guild is targeting him. Desperate to steal his gear, they come after him. But using only basic skills, he wipes the entire squad out, sending them back to the respawn screen and takes all of their wealth and equipment for himself. Meanwhile, Na Yan gripped the trigger so tightly his knuckles turned white. All the resentment and hatred bottled up for years finally exploded in his eyes. A deafening gunshot rang out and the bullet tore straight through Cao Shu, making his body convulse violently. The entire room erupted into chaos as bodyguards and henchmen screamed in panic. Boss Cao's been hit. But a split second later, countless gun barrels pointed straight at Ni Yan. A hail of bullets riddled his body, and as blood stained the floor, he collapsed heavily to the ground. Yet a mocking smirk played on his lips. Staring at Cao Shu, he gasped, "In this world, everyone only gets one life. You never expected this, did you? To end up dying into the hands of a nobody like me. No matter how rich you are, you can't buy your life back now." He weakly raised his blood-stained hand into the air, trembling. As his life slowly slipped away, the faces of his parents flashed before his eyes. Na Yan choked out, "Mom, Dad, your son finally avenged you. But why? Why is heaven so unfair? Why did you have to take so much away from me?" His vision blurred into darkness, his consciousness fading. The only thing left in his mind was a single regretful thought. "I can't accept this." The light in Ni Yan's eyes went completely dark, but just then, out of the endless darkness, a faint glimmer of light appeared. Gasping, his eyes flew open, and he sat bolt upright in panic. The sight before him left Ni Yan completely stunned. His old bed, the tiny room from years ago, everything was incredibly familiar. He panted heavily. "Didn't I die at the hands of Cao Shu's bodyguards?" Ni Yan's eyes swept across the room. His heart began to hammer wildly. This was clearly his old study room. Did I travel back in time? Right at that moment, an advertisement flashed on the screen beside him showing a massive headline, "Conviction, the fully immersive virtual reality online game officially launches its open beta." Na Yan immediately frowned. Conviction just launched its server, so I really was reborn. With trembling hands, he picked up the family photo on the desk. In it were his parents' smiling happily faces he had lost so long ago. Staring at the photo, the painful memories of his past life flooded back. At this point in time, his parents were still doing business on the border trading polonium, a strategic metal that the government bought at extremely high prices. Because of this, his family would soon make a fortune. His father would open a metal refining company and become a prominent figure. But all of that only lasted until he turned 25 when Cao Shu's Century Financial Group targeted them. They squeezed them out. The people his father trusted most were bribed one by one and turned their backs on him. The company went bankrupt. In utter despair, his father took poison to end his life, and his mother, consumed by grief and illness, passed away not long after. As for Na Yan himself, in his past life, he had lived in luxury for too long and was too useless to save his family. In the end, he was forced to take the most extreme path, trading his own life to kill Cao Shu. Ni Yan gripped the photo frame, his gaze turning icy cold. "Since heaven has given me a second chance, I won't let myself lose anything ever again." He looked back at the advertisement for Conviction. It wasn't just a game. In the future, it would become humanity's second world. Countless massive financial groups would rise to power because of Conviction, including Cao Shu's Century Group. In his past life, Ni Yan was a level 180 thief who ruled the gaming world. He quickly checked his phone for the date, July 25th, 2025. Conviction had only been online for 7 days. He still had time. Ni Yan fell into deep thought. Currently, the top player on the leaderboard was probably only around level 5. But he possessed all the memories and experience of the future. As long as he played his cards right, surpassing everyone would just be a matter of time. This was his chance to rewrite his destiny. If he remembered correctly, he still had just enough savings left and to buy the cheapest gaming helmet. Na Yan clenched his fists, his eyes chillingly cold. "Just you wait, Cao Shu. In this life, I won't let that tragedy happen again. Everything you stole from my family, I'll make you pay back 100 times over." Night slowly enveloped the city, but on the top floor of the building, a bright light was still shining. Holding the gaming helmet in his hands, Ni-Yan smirked with absolute confidence. So what if he was 7 days behind everyone else? He was a traveler from the future. This time, he would use every shred of his past memories to crush all his rivals and climb to the very peak of conviction. The system screen gradually lit up. Entering conviction. Please choose your faction. The game world was divided into 3 major factions: the Righteous and Order faction, consisted of the Greenland Empire and the Saturn Empire. Greenland was a human nation ruled by the Council of Elders, while Saturn was an alliance of dwarves, orcs, and elves. The Evil and Darkness faction included the Demon Tribe and the Undead Tribe under dictatorial rule. In addition, there was the Giant Tribe, a neutral faction for those who didn't want to get involved in the war between the two sides. Ni-Yan stared at the familiar interface, and memories of his past life rushed back. Back then, he had chosen the Shadow Thief class in the Greenland Empire. Over years of battles, he had mastered almost every skill, quest, and progression path of this class. Since he was reborn, sticking to his familiar path would definitely give him the ultimate advantage. Without a second thought, he chose the Shadow Thief class. The system voice chimed in, "You have selected the Shadow Thief class. You have chosen to spawn in the Greenland Empire. Please enter your character's name." The 2 words Nirvana Flame flashed on the screen. Name creation successful. The character Nirvana Flame has been successfully created. Viridian Empire, Kalori City Thief, Level 1. Ni-Yan took a deep breath, savoring this familiar feeling. I'm finally back. He immediately allocated 3 points to Strength and 2 points to Dexterity. In his past life, he had wasted a lot of time leveling up due to poorly allocated stats. But this time, he would absolutely not repeat his past mistakes. The moment he appeared at Kalori's transfer point, the place was already packed with new players, their voices peddling items constantly. Someone shouted, "Level 0 White Grade Dagger. Its attack is 1 point higher than the Novice Dagger, only 2 copper coins, and I only have 3 left." Hearing this, Ni-Yan only sneered. This kind of dagger was sold in Locktown for exactly 1 copper coin, and all you needed to do was teleport over there for free to buy it. In his past life, he had foolishly spent money on one, only to find out later that he'd been ripped off. But now every memory was still crystal clear in his mind. In another direction, someone else was loudly yelling to sell something. "Stealth skill book here. Only 6 coppers, new thieves, come take a look. Learning stealth will put you way ahead of everyone else from the very start." The crowd immediately fell into a hubbub. 6 coppers was indeed too expensive for beginners, but Ni-Yan's expression shifted slightly. Stealth was the strongest core skill for a thief in the early game. To him right now, it was incredibly important. Ni-Yan stepped closer and asked for the price again. The seller immediately replied, 6 coppers each, no bargaining. He pondered for a few seconds before suddenly remembering something. In the Wildcat area near the small town, there was a treasure chest containing an extremely rare skill book. If he could get it, his growth speed would increase at a terrifying rate. However, that area was populated by level 5 monsters. Right now, most new players were only level 2 or 3, so absolutely no one had discovered it yet. Ni-Yan looked at the seller, then suddenly said, "Give me this book for free. In exchange, I'll tell you a secret that can get you dozens of stealth books every day." Hearing this, the seller immediately lost his temper. "Get lost. Are you out of your mind? You want to get things for free?" But Ni-Yan remained extremely calm. "If I'm not mistaken, these stealth books of yours dropped from the fallen shamans in Linktown, didn't they?" The other guy immediately froze. Ni-Yan went on to list the exact coordinates. The seller was now completely dumbfounded. How could a level 0 player know such a precise secret location? His mind began to waver. Finally, after thinking for a few seconds, he gritted his teeth and initiated the trade. It was just 1 skill book after all. If he could really get dozens of them every day, it would be a massive profit. The system displayed a notification, "Trade successful." Ni-Yan smiled with satisfaction, then quickly explained to him how to farm the fallen shamans for skill books. Hearing the explanation, the seller was so excited that he wanted to run off and try it immediately. Before leaving, Ni-Yan added, "If you happen to get any night vision or awareness skill books, save a copy for me." The other guy immediately beat his chest and promised, "If your information is real, I'll definitely send them to you first." Watching him leave, Ni-Yan also quickly stepped into the transfer point. Since he had gotten stealth, the next step was to grab the treasure chest in the Wildcat area. The surrounding scenery instantly shifted. He appeared at the small town of Talak. The moment he opened the skill book, the system immediately chimed, "You have learned the stealth skill." A cold aura instantly enveloped his body. His breath gradually faded away. With footsteps as light as the wind and stealth activated his figure, shot down the long road like a streak of black lightning. He moved so fast that he left only a faint afterimage in his wake. Before long, the wildcat area finally appeared before him, felines with glowing red eyes. Lurking in the darkness made the environment look extremely dangerous. However, Ni Yun's gaze quickly swept toward a tree branch above. There lay a treasure chest, in conviction. Treasure chests were divided into several tiers: common silver gold, dark gold, and legendary. The higher the tier, the more valuable the items inside. Ni Yan felt a bit of regret. The famous silver chest in the Wildcat area seemed to have already been taken by someone else. But currently he had no time to waste on regrets. Although this was a level 5 monster zone, if he died as a level 0, he wouldn't lose any experience points or equipment. He could absolutely afford to take a gamble. Ni Yan immediately activated stealth again and sped forward. Stealth currently only lasted for 2 minutes, and opening the chest would also take time. He absolutely could not afford to delay. Just then, a wildcat suddenly turned its head as if sensing his movements. Ni Yan immediately lowered his body carefully, evading its line of sight as he approached the chest. He leaped powerfully into the air, landing straight onto the tree branch. The system displayed, "Opening treasure chest." Ni Yan forced himself to stay calm. The moment his stealth broke, the wildcats below would tear him to pieces. Every second passed agonizingly slowly. 27 seconds later, the treasure chest finally clicked open. A dazzling beam of light shone directly onto Ni Yun's face. He clenched his fist in excitement. He had finally gotten it. His path of perfect leveling officially started here. The system immediately displayed the reward, the Vital Strike skill book. Ni Yan looked at the skill book in his hand, and a confident smile gradually spread across his face. From this moment on, the gears of fate from his past life had completely changed. Ni Yan looked at the newly acquired skill, and his lips curled into a satisfied smile. As expected, it was Vital Strike, one of the best skills a thief could learn right at level 0. With this in his arsenal, the difficulty of leveling up in the early stages would be cut by at least half. The system quickly prompted, "You have learned the skill Vital Strike." Ni Yan let out a soft breath. Finally, it was done. Immediately after he stood up, the rustling on the branch instantly drew the attention of the wildcats below. His stealth effect vanished in a flash, but Ni Yan didn't panic at all. He leaped straight down from the tree to the ground, letting out a faint smile. "Catch you later, boys. Thanks for guarding this chest for me for so long." The wildcats immediately pounced frenziedly, tearing him to pieces. But Ni Yan didn't care at all. In conviction, dying meant losing experience and potentially dropping gear. But right now, he was only level 0. He was wearing nothing but cheap beginner gear, so dying right now cost him basically nothing. The system immediately chimed, "You have died. You have dropped novice leather bracers." Teleporting to the nearest town. A flash of light flared, and Ni Yan returned to the starting town's plaza. He walked along, muttering, "I really should make the most of this free return ticket." The next part was step 2 of his leveling plan. The streets were still packed with new players as Ni Yan quickly calculated his moves. The next step requires at least 20 silver coins, but I only have 10 in my account. I need to make some quick cash first. If I remember correctly, there's a highly valuable hidden quest around here. Just then, an NPC hunter approached him. A system notification popped up. Accepted quest, collect 20 giant silver dust rat skulls. Next, another farmer handed him a quest to kill 50 giant silver dust rats. When he met Alchemist Orr, the alchemist suddenly spoke up. "I heard Crowley and Ende talking. You accepted their quests. As it happens, I'm also in need of some potion ingredients. Could you help me gather them?" The system immediately flashed a special notification. Hidden quest unlocked. Ni Yan smiled, realizing his memories from his past life were spot on. Only by taking both of those quests simultaneously could you trigger Alchemist Orr's hidden quest. At this stage of the game, almost no one knew this secret. He calmly replied, "Of course, Mr. Orr." The system announced, "Accepted hidden quest, collect 21 giant silver dust rat tails." The scene shifted to the fields outside the town where a giant silver dust rat slowly emerged from the grass. Level 1. HP 53 out of 53. Without a second thought, Ni Yan activated his Vital Strike skill. His dagger slashed across the rat's throat like lightning, and the damage numbers popped up. -21. Critical strike minus 32. Ni Yan stared at the massive damage, thoroughly impressed, as expected of a top-tier critical skill. The giant rat collapsed to the ground. The system displayed received silver dust rat skull times 1, received silver dust rat tail times 1. Not long after, a rare item dropped from a mob. Ni Yan picked it up and smiled. Tough leather leg protector. If he auctioned this right now, it would fetch at least 7 silver coins. In the distance, more giant rats scurried over, but Ni Yan's face remained cold and focused. His dagger slashed repeatedly with terrifying precision. Vital strike triggered consecutively, and each flash of bright red damage numbers sent another monster crashing down. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, an hour had passed. The system flashed multiple completion notifications, quests completed for Crowley Ende and Alchemist Ho. Total rewards, 34 silver coins and 3 basic health potions. Ni Yan's eyes lit up slightly. The hidden quest is definitely more profitable than I thought. I didn't expect it to reward health potions, too. He immediately listed the tough leather leg protector on the auction house, and it sold within minutes. Ni Yan smiled with satisfaction. All right, now I can head over to the weapon shop. Not long after, he stepped into the largest weapon shop in the area. The shopkeeper immediately greeted him with a warm smile. Welcome, esteemed adventurer. What can I help you find today? My weapons are the absolute best in these western plains. Ni Yan went straight to the point. I need a level 0 crossbow, attack power of 3 or more, a firing rate of at least 12, and priced around 40 silver coins. The shopkeeper's eyes lit up and he pulled out an exquisite small crossbow. This is my masterpiece, a small crossbow with a 3-shot burst effect. It gives attack plus 5. Though its base rate is only 8, the burst fire effect pushes its actual speed to 15. It has a range of 30 meters and it's only 35 silver coins. Without hesitating, Ni Yan slapped the money onto the counter. I'll take it. Also give me 9 quivers of low-quality bolts, 1,000 per quiver. The system chimed. Deducted 44 silver coins. Purchased small crossbow times 1 crossbow bolts times 9. The shopkeeper smiled from ear to ear. Please come again, esteemed adventurer. Safe travels. As Ni Yan left the shop, he looked at the crossbow in his hand and muttered, now it's time to head to the bison zone. In conviction level, suppression is absolute. A 5-level difference represents a night and day gap in strength, and bisons are level 8 monsters. Right now, not even the top players on the leaderboard stand a chance against them. On top of that, there's a highly elusive bison chieftain in the area. But Ni Yan was different. He was a rejuvenator who had returned from the future. Even though he was only level 0, Sir. He knew exactly how to take down the bison chieftain. The scene shifted to a vast, lush green prairie where strong winds swept through the grass, creating an endless, rustling sound. Ni Yan landed lightly on a large boulder and scanned his surroundings with sharp focus. Coordinates 567, 528, 192. If I'm not mistaken, this is the spot. His eyes locked onto the distance, a smirk slowly spreading across his face. Found you, bison chieftain. The system immediately flashed a bright red warning, level 8. Bison Chieftain, Chieftain class, HP 300 out of 300. Ni Yan stared at the colossal beast, his gaze turning cold and predatory. Sure enough, it's in this exact spot. And this terrain angle is perfect. The distance is exactly within my small crossbow's range. A smirk played on his lips. This was a famous terrain exploit verified by countless future players. Without hesitation, Ni Yan raised his crossbow and unleashed a rapid volley at the bison chieftain. The system repeatedly chimed, critical strike -1. The chieftain's HP fell to 299 out of 300. Ni Yan chuckled at the pitiful damage. The level gap was so massive that even a critical strike only shaved off a single point of health. But so what? I brought 9,000 bolts with me. I'm going to turn you into a pincushion today, you big beast. Bolt after bolt rained down relentlessly, and the system rapidly flashed bright red damage notifications. Critical strike -1. Critical strike -1. The bison chieftain's health bar began to slowly tick down bit by bit. The massive beast finally flew into a rage. It roared, charging frantically toward Ni Yan, but he stood entirely still on the boulder, his expression terrifyingly calm. Here you come? Just give up. This terrain exploit was tested and proven countless times in the future. You can't even touch me. Sure enough, as the bison chieftain reached the edge of the boulder, it was completely blocked by the terrain. It could only stand below, roaring furiously, unable to land a single hit on Ni Yan. As for him, he just stood there on high, shooting down non-stop. Time slowly trickled by, and his crossbow bolts depleted at a terrifying speed. 8,063 remaining, 6,060 remaining, 5,016 remaining. 3 hours went by like that amidst the furious roars of the bison leader. Nian looked at the consumed bolts and frowned slightly. Nearly 4,000 arrows, and this guy still wasn't dead. It was indeed a level 8 leader-class monster, but he remained extremely patient. One shot after another, he kept aiming straight at the beast's head. Finally, one last arrow pierced straight through its eye. The system immediately flashed, "Critical hit, 11 damage." The bison leader shrieked in agonizing pain before its massive body crashed heavily to the ground, kicking up a thick cloud of dust. HP 0 out of 300. Seeing the monster finally fall, Ni Yan slowly walked over as the system prompts chimed continuously. "You have slain the bison leader, received 1,800 experience points." The golden light of a level up immediately enveloped his body. Ni Yan nodded in satisfaction. As expected, the experience from a leader-class monster was still as insane as ever. "Just one battle and I've already reached level 2. He immediately looked at the loot dropped on the ground. A bronze dagger shimmering with a faint light caught his eye. It was the bronze-grade bullhorn dagger, stats unidentified. Picking up the weapon, Nai Yen recalled the equipment system of conviction. Gear was divided into common, bronze, silver, gold, and then legendary. Since leaders, sub-elites, and lords were extremely rare in this game, equipment, with special attributes, was incredibly precious, a regular bronze-grade piece. It was already at least 20% stronger than a common weapon, plus it had valuable bonus attributes. Since the bison leader was a level 8 monster, this dagger had to be at least a level 5 piece. Its value was easily over 30 silver coins, but he would have to identify it first to know for sure. Right then, another system notification popped up. "Your tough leather leg protector has been sold successfully. Received 8 silver coins." Player Flying Stone requested a voice call. Ni Yan was slightly surprised. "Is it that paladin who bought the skill book earlier?" He accepted the call, and Flying Stone's excited voice immediately blurted out, "Expert, I made it to the farming spot you told me about. It's seriously effective. I've only been here a short while and already farmed 2 stealth books. My leveling speed is way faster than before, too. Expert, I only gifted you 1 skill book, but you pointed me to such an amazing spot. Aren't you getting the short end of the stick here?" Ni Yan just smiled faintly. "Don't worry about it. If you happen to farm the awareness or night owl skill books in the future, just remember to save one for me. You got it." Flying Stone immediately thumped his chest in promise. "Rest assured, Expert. The moment one drops, you'll be the very first person I send it to." He then asked curiously, "But how did you know about this place anyway? Earlier you were clearly only level 0. Ni Yan replied casually, "I used to play on another account. Now I've switched over to play a thief." Flying Stone immediately understood. "Ah, so that's it? Your old account must have been among the top players, right?" Then, as if suddenly remembering something, he quickly added, "By the way, Expert, did your old account ever run the Fallen Shaman Camp dungeon? Our team tried it a few times, but we got completely wiped, losing both our experience and gear." Hearing this, Ni Yan calmly replied, "I have a complete strategy guide. The price is 2 silver coins, no bargaining." The other side went dead silent for a few seconds before Flying Stone practically screamed in excitement, "Expert, do you really have a strategy to clear the dungeon?" Ni Yan smiled faintly. "Of course I do." Flying Stone immediately became incredibly hyped. "Awesome, I trust you. Hang tight, I'll go convince my team leader right now." After hanging up, Ni Yan headed back to Telok Town. His next task was to get this bronze-grade dagger identified. Before long, he stepped into the appraiser's shop. The appraiser smiled warmly and greeted him. "Respected adventurer, what item do you need identified?" Ni Yan placed the dagger directly on the table. "A bronze-grade weapon." The appraiser inspected it briefly and said calmly, "The identification fee is 10 silver coins. Would you like to proceed?" Hearing this price, Ni Yan immediately fell into deep thought. In Conviction, the NPC identification fee was usually about 5% of the item's value, while the market value was often several times higher than its actual worth. This meant that this dagger was definitely extremely valuable. Ultimately, he decided to pay. The system notified deducted 10 silver coins. The appraiser immediately raised his hand to cast his magic on the dagger. A faint light enveloped the blade, and the system quickly displayed its full attributes: bullhorn dagger, bronze-grade weapon, strength +5. Ni Yan gripped the dagger tightly in his hand, his eyes instantly lighting up. Just this strength bonus alone. was enough to boost its attack power by over 10 points compared to normal daggers. A massive gap like this was more than enough to let him completely crush all players in the early stages. Checking his gear once more, Ni Yan silently calculated. He had his weapon, and he had already learned Vital Strike and Stealth. However, he was still missing the most crucial thing for a thief sustain. In conviction to maintain continuous combat capability, most thieves would choose to learn alchemy or combat bandaging. Health potions and combat recovery potions were extremely vital, allowing players to quickly restore their status. But they were also outrageously expensive. However, to a reincarnated player like Ni Yan, earning money was absolutely no problem. Potions were something he could buy whenever he wanted, but the price was outrageously expensive. Fortunately for a reincarnated soul like Ni Yan, making money was never an issue, so he could buy these potions whenever he wanted. So, learning the combat. Bandaging skill would suit me much better. With that thought in mind, he immediately went into the item shop and said to the shopkeeper NPC, "Give me 2 basic underwater breathing potions." The NPC quickly nodded. "Sure thing, adventurer." Before long, the scene shifted to the vast Lake Rando. Ni Yan moved cautiously, scanning his surroundings. This was a wilderness area where players could easily start killing each other over monsters. I'd better be careful. Ahead of me is the Fishman village located right in the deep part of the lake. To reach my destination, I have to pass through this area. Then I'll have to go deeper into Lake Rando. But this place is crawling with fishmen. To wipe them all out, it would take at least 1,000 players working together. It looks like my only option is to sneak past. Just then, a regional system announcement rang out stating that this area would be taken over by the Victorious Return Guild in 3 minutes. Hearing this, Ni Yan's eyes turned ice cold. Victorious Return is just as overbearing as they were in my past life. They use their massive size to bully solo players everywhere. In my past life, they even hunted me down for months, but this debt, I will settle it with every single one of them sooner or later. With that thought, Ni Yan immediately activated stealth and dashed through the shadows of the Fishman village, his body moving as silently as a ghost. But just as the stealth effect ended, a fireball suddenly shot straight toward him. Fireball. The system immediately warned, -23 HP player dying fire is attacking you. You have the right to self-defense for 3 minutes. A mage, standing in the distance, sneered contemptuously. Sorry, but solo players aren't allowed here. If you know what's good for you, get lost. Ni Yan immediately realized the opponent was from Victorious Return. If he was alone, it wasn't impossible to kill him. A series of combat strategies quickly flashed through his mind. When facing a mage, there were only 2 choices. One was to close in for melee combat, and the other was to turn around and run. But running away was never his style. Flame Burst requires a 2-second cast time. That's more than enough time for me to get close to him. With that, Ni Yan accelerated and lunged forward. The dagger in his hand repeatedly flashed with a cold light. Dying Fire's health bar began to drop rapidly. Dying Fire roared in anger. "You damn thief! This place has already been taken over by the Victorious Return Guild." Immediately after he unleashed his Ring of Fire skill, a massive ring of fire exploded outward. On Ni Yan's screen, the system repeatedly warned -39 HP, but in the very next second, he immediately drank a basic instant health potion. Plus 89 HP before dying. Fire could even react. Ni Yan had already closed the distance and slammed his dagger hard into his opponent's abdomen. Once a thief gets close, you think you can still run. Critical strike -36. Dying Fire desperately swung his staff to fight back, screaming, "Get the hell off me!" But Ni Yan clung to him like a phantom, his relentless dagger slashes shredding Dying Fire's health bar. Dying Fire was completely panicking now. How is this thief still alive after taking so many skills? His HP should be under 20 by now, while I still have over 50. Just one more fireball is enough to send him back to town. With that thought, he let out a vicious roar. Go to hell! This is what you get for crossing Victorious Return? The 2 of them clashed like 2 raging tempests, but at that exact moment, Ni Yan's gaze went completely cold. With a critical strike, his flashing dagger plunged straight into Dying Fire's throat. His body shuddered violently and he collapsed to the ground. Dying Fire stared at Ni Yan in utter disbelief. How is this possible? You're only a level 2 thief. You took my fireball and didn't die. Just how much HP do you have? Wait, an instant health potion? But how could a level 2 solo player like you afford that? Ni Yan looked down at him and replied coldly, "As for the answers to those questions, figure them out yourself after you respawn." Right after those words, Dying Fire's body dissolved into white light, vanishing in resentment. Ni Yan bent down to pick up the loot and quickly inspected it, a level 0 bronze staff. This should sell for at least 10 silver pieces. But before he could celebrate, a barrage of shouts echoed from the distance. "Oh no, enemy by the lake, Dying Fire has been killed. Catch him. Don't let him get away." A crowd of Victorious Return members spotted Ni Yan's retreating figure and chased after him like madmen, with a swordsman leading the charge. The swordsman swung his longsword down in a fierce straight slash, but Ni Yan simply tilted his body slightly and easily dodged the blow. The swordsman gritted his teeth in frustration. "This guy's reflexes are insane." Just then, Ni Yan reached the edge of the lake. He quickly pulled out the underwater breathing potion, preparing to use it. A player behind them immediately yelled, "Oh no! He's trying to jump into the water to escape. Stop him quick!" A barrage of skills flew straight toward Ni Yan. Charge flame slash! The air warped as countless glowing skills illuminated the space. Two Victorious Return members lunged forward together to slash at Ni Yan, but he only turned back to give them a cold look and leaped into the lake, vanishing from sight. Standing on the shore, Wenwei could only seethe with rage. Since no one in their team had brought underwater breathing potions, they couldn't pursue him at all. Upon finding out that the person who killed Dying Fire was named Nirvana Flame, he immediately carved the name into his memory, swearing to show no mercy the next time they met. Beneath the lake, Ni Yan had finally escaped their pursuit. Remembering there was a treasure chest hidden at the bottom of Lake Rando, he immediately set off to search for it. Before long, he indeed discovered the Fishman's Water Avoidance Pearl, an item that granted underwater breathing. Although it wasn't extremely rare, it was incredibly useful for him at this stage of the game. But right then, a spear suddenly lunged at him from behind. Ni Yan immediately realized he had wandered into Fishman territory, and fighting underwater put a thief like him at a complete disadvantage. Fortunately, the Fishman village suddenly erupted in explosions due to Victorious Return's raid, drawing all the fishmen away. Ni Yan seized the opportunity to quickly withdraw and head to Three Islands Lake. Just as he surfaced, he heard a cry for help in the distance. To his surprise, the person being chased by monsters was none other than Yao Yao. Yaoma the Holy Mage was once his teammate in his past life. He never expected to meet her so early after being reborn. Without a second thought, Ni Yan rushed over to save her. Dagger in hand, he unleashed a flurry of fatal strikes. Working in perfect harmony with Yao Yao's magic, they quickly wiped out the horde of monsters. After the battle, she thanked him and sent a friend request. Hearing the name, Nirvana Flame, Yao Yao froze, finding it incredibly familiar. Still, she wasn't sure if this was the Ni Yan she actually knew. While chatting, they realized their quest objectives were very similar, so they decided to party up. Yao Yao even gifted him 12 spider silks she had just gathered. They were worth over 30 silver coins given to him as a thank you for saving her life. But right then, the Water Spider Lord suddenly appeared. The massive boss lunged at them, catching Yao Yao completely off guard. Yet Ni Yan remained remarkably calm. He charged straight ahead, drawing aggro and landing continuous critical hits. Yao Yao also played her part flawlessly, supporting him with a barrage of Holy Smite and Holy Strike spells. Even though it was a powerful boss, their seamless teamwork sent its health bar plummeting at a terrifying speed. In the end, the Water Spider Lord was defeated. Victory. After the battle, Yao Yao felt more and more perplexed. This was clearly their very first meeting, yet they fought together so naturally, as if they had been in the same party for years. Even a tough elite boss was taken down with ease. It was beyond belief. Seeing her staring at him, Ni Yan turned around and asked if something was wrong. Yama gave a shy smile and asked why a player with such incredible skills would always play alone. Ni Yan simply replied that he was used to being a solo player, but his response gave her another idea. If he didn't have a fixed party, why not recruit him into hers? With that thought, Yao Yao immediately made her move. She invited Ni Yan to join her team to clear the Treant Forest dungeon in the town. After listening to Z, Yao described their team lineup for the run. Ni Yan immediately asked for the stats of their two main tanks. But upon hearing their defense was only 53 and their health was just over 200, he knew right away that this team would face a total party wipe if they entered the dungeon. The Treant King was a level 3 sub-elite monster that had a high chance of landing critical hits. If the tank's defense was under 60, the boss would easily one-shot them. Not to mention the priest's heals had to be perfectly timed to survive. Hearing this, Jie Yao was stunned. She had never heard anyone mention the boss having a critical hit skill. but thinking about how their team had spent days preparing it would be such a waste to back out now. Trying to get enough bronze-grade gear to boost their defense at this stage was next to impossible. Seeing her worry, Ni Yan calmly assured her that there was still one way. He would take full command of the team. His words left Zi Yao dazed for a few seconds. Although she deeply trusted Nirvana Flame's strength, getting the entire team to follow a complete stranger was definitely no easy task. Even so, she decided she would try to convince everyone. Afterward, the two of them began dividing the loot from the Water Spider Lord. Zi Yao used her appraisal skill and discovered a bronze-grade silk wrist guard which was perfect for a mage. Seeing this, Ni Yan let her have it while he only took some rare materials and an assassinate skill book. Knowing he also got some good items, Jie Yao happily accepted the gear. Shortly after, a system announcement warned that the server was closing, so they quickly said goodbye and logged off. Opening his eyes back in reality, a new day had dawned. Ni Yan realized that he had to become stronger not just in conviction, but in real life as well. In his past life, he had been too weak, which allowed Cao Shu to drive his family into a corner. To change his future, he couldn't afford to live passively anymore. But as he was walking to school, a truck suddenly sped past, knocking him hard to the ground. The first person to run over was none other than Jie Yao. She frantically checked his injuries, scolded him for being careless, and even ran back to her car to grab a first aid kit. Seeing her so deeply worried, a complex emotion welled up inside Ni Yan. In his past life, his own cowardice had kept him from ever confessing his feelings to her. In the end, it even dragged Zi Yao down as Cao Shu's corporation targeted her, driving her to severe psychological trauma. Meeting her again now before any of that had happened made him realize how deep his regrets truly ran, just how deep they were. When their eyes accidentally met, Jie Yao blushed instantly and looked away. Ni Yan could only smile. In his heart, she was still exactly as he remembered. But Jie Yao was also starting to find things strange. Nirvana Flame in the game and Ni Yan in real life seemed more and more alike, especially that confident aura which was completely different from before. Meanwhile, Ni Yan knew all too well that time was running out. If he wanted to protect the people he cared about, he had to secure a solid foothold in conviction before Cao Shu could grow any stronger. Just then, his phone rang. The caller was Tang Yao, his best friend from his past life. Hearing that familiar voice, Ni Yan let out a sigh of relief. In his past life, Tang Yao had quietly helped him immensely when he hit rock bottom. Yet in the end, Tang Yao met a tragic death after offending a powerful figure at a bar. In this life, Ni Yan would never let that happen again. As soon as they met, Tang Yao dragged him to a PK club. This was a place where players used their in-game characters to duel betting gear and money. Tang Yao was notoriously hooked on gambling, even though he lost far more than he won. Before long, Wei Kai showed up with a provocative look, even bringing up the past to get under Ni Yan's skin. But this time, Ni Yan remained incredibly calm. He is completely different from the weakling he used to be. Even Wei Kai was utterly confused. He felt as if Ni Yan had turned into a completely different person today. Meanwhile, Tang Yao was eager to drag Wei Kai into a 200 copper bet. He himself was incredibly confident in his level 3 arcane mage. But watching from the sidelines, Ni Yan immediately realized things didn't look good. Wei Kai was a berserker. On top of that, he had already learned the charge skill. On flat terrain like this, an arcane mage would find it extremely hard to keep their distance. Once closed in on, Tang Yao would almost certainly lose. While Ni Yan was still analyzing the situation, Shifeng suddenly stepped up to provoke him. He sneered, saying that Tang Yao was a goner for sure. He even tried to drag Ni Yan into another bet. Ni Yan calmly agreed, but scoffed that the stakes were too low, which immediately set Shifeng off. He instantly put up all 700 of his copper coins, as a wager determined to teach Ni Yan a lesson. Shortly after, the two were teleported into a bamboo forest map. On one side was Ni Yan's level 2 thief. On the other side was Shifeng's level 2 knight errant. As the match began, both of them immediately activated stealth and vanished into the gloomy bamboo forest. Shifeng was still extremely confident, believing he would definitely catch that arrogant thief. But the longer he searched, the stranger it felt. Ni Yan's figure had completely vanished, as if he had never even existed. Meanwhile, with 15 years of combat experience from his past life, sneaking and hunting down targets had practically become second nature to Ni Yan. In just a split second, he had silently slipped behind Shifeng. Like a ghost, his dagger flashed in the air. A single strike instantly shaved off nearly half of his opponent's health bar. Before Shifeng could even register what was happening, Ni Yan coldly materialized right behind him. Terrified, Shifeng whipped his head around, utterly clueless as to when Ni Yan had appeared. But Na Yan only said one word calmly, "It's over." Right after that, a fatal blow was struck. Shifeng's health bar was instantly depleted. In the blink of an eye, not long after entering the match, Shifeng was sent packing by Ni Yan. The onlookers watched in utter disbelief, and some even burst out laughing. The match ended so fast that no one could process it. Everyone had expected Shifeng to at least put up a fight for a few rounds, but who would have thought he'd be taken out so easily? As for Na Yan, he only found it amusing. To him, fighting a level 2 novice knight-errant was like an adult bullying a toddler. But what frustrated Shifeng the most wasn't just the loss. It was the fact that he had absolutely no idea how he lost. Ni Yan's movements looked so simple they seemed ordinary, yet every single strike was deadly accurate, as if aimed directly for the throat. Now only one thought consumed his mind. Where was the weak, submissive Ni Yan he used to know? The person standing in front of him now felt like a completely different person. Someone in the crowd whispered in shock, "Is that really Ni Yan? That pushover actually has those kinds of mechanics." Right then, Ni Yan walked over to Tang Yao. One look at his face and Ni Yan knew things had gone south. Tang Yao let out a miserable sigh, having lost 2 matches in a row, and began complaining in frustration. That Wei Kai had already learned. The Berserker's magic resistance aura, which almost completely counters mages like him. Hearing this, Ni Yan just chuckled and explained that the skill actually only reduces a portion of magic. Damage, that's all. It's not as hopelessly terrifying as it seems. As long as you time your skills right, a Berserker is still easy to handle. Tang Yao nodded vigorously, immediately realizing where he had messed up. Earlier, he had been too impatient, blowing all his spells on thin air, only for them to go on cooldown, allowing the opponent to close the distance and kill him. But the more they talked, the stranger Tang Yao found it. Ni Yan knew this PvP logic inside out, which was nothing like the old him. Just then, Ni Yan pulled out his winnings. Tang Yao stared wide-eyed in disbelief that Ni Yan had actually won money from those guys. On the other side, someone instantly lost their temper. One of them lunged forward, pointing right at Ni Yan's face and cursing. Before he could even finish his sentence, he threw a punch, but the fist was cleanly caught in Ni Yan's palm. Before anyone could react, Ni Yan spun and slammed the guy straight onto the ground. His movement was so swift and decisive that the entire crowd froze. Ni Yan could only think to himself that in his past life to deal with Kaoshu, he had trained in self-defense, never expecting to use it here. Tang Yao stared with his mouth agape. Since when did his historically weak friend become this powerful? Shifeng was starting to get genuinely scared now. He took a few steps back and muttered to the others to leave Ni Yan alone, warning that this guy was definitely not to be messed with. But the rest called him a coward, while only Wei Kai stood in the back silently observing. He realized that the current Ni Yan was indeed entirely different from before. Then he stepped forward, looking straight at Ni Yan, and asked, "So you're the one who just beat my lackey?" Ni Yan calmly replied, "Just a friendly match, but your guy is a bit too weak." Hearing this, Wei Kai's face darkened instantly. He directly proposed a duel with a wager of 1,000 yuan a match. Tang Yao flared up immediately upon hearing this. Wei Kai was a level 3 berserker, while Ni Yan was only a level 2 thief. With such an obvious gap, he still had the nerve to issue a challenge. Yet to everyone's surprise, Ni Yan calmly raised the bet to 3,000 yuan a match. Even Wei Kai was caught off guard for a moment, but he quickly agreed, brimming with confidence. There was no way he'd lose to a level 2 thief. Tang Yao, on the other hand, was about to lose his mind. He dragged Ni Yan aside, frantically asking if he'd lost his mind. "Where are we even going to get the money for a bet that big?" Ni Yan casually replied that since he didn't have any money, he had to borrow some from him. Hearing that, Tang Yao could only hold his head and groan, but in the end, he gritted his teeth and backed his bro anyway. Right after the two of them logged into the game. With a flash of light, Ni Yan was fully geared up and they both materialized in the middle of a vast open plain. The moment he saw the terrain, Tang Yao, watching from the outside, instantly turned pale. An open plain was the worst possible terrain for a thief. There was absolutely nowhere to hide. Even Wei Kai put on a show of being generous, asking Ni Yan if he wanted to change the map. But Ni Yan simply replied, "No need." The moment the words left his mouth, he instantly activated stealth, his figure vanishing as he dashed forward like a gust of wind sweeping across the grassland. At first, Wei Kai thought he had the match in the bag, but he soon noticed the grass rustling continuously, a clear sign that Ni Yan was moving at an incredibly high speed. Ni Yan was well aware of his own disadvantage. The tall grass would easily give away a thief's position if he kept this up. Sooner or later, his movement pattern would be exposed. So he waited. He waited for the wind to pick up. The moment a strong gust swept across the plains, the entire grassland began to sway violently. Wei Kai's vision and sense of direction were instantly thrown into chaos. He began to genuinely panic. This was the first time he had ever faced a thief who could utilize stealth to such a terrifying degree. Ni Yan had turned his terrain disadvantage into the perfect cover. Having completely lost track of his opponent, Wei Kai could do nothing but swing his sword wildly in a desperate attempt to defend himself. Meanwhile, Ni Yan watched calmly. He knew that the moment the next gust of wind blew, it would be his perfect window to strike. Wei Kai, on the other hand, was frantically trying to figure out where his opponent was. Convinced that Ni Yan must be hiding somewhere right in front of him. But just as he turned his head to check behind, a dark shadow materialized. Ni Yan was already there, launching a lightning-fast strike directly into his back. Wei Kai let out a startled curse. He had absolutely no idea how or when Ni Yan had slipped behind him. Enraged, he immediately retaliated with a whirlwind slash. The blade swept outward, clipping Ni Yan, but the damage indicator only showed a measly 9. Ni Yan remained completely unfazed. He knew all too well that after executing a whirlwind slash with a greatsword, the user would experience a brief moment of recovery lag for nearly 1 second. That very moment would decide the match. Sure enough, after unleashing the skill, Wei Kai briefly lost his balance. Ni Yan's eyes lit up. The opening had arrived. He lunged forward, pouring all his power into a devastating strike. His dagger sliced through the air, and Wei Kai's health plummeted as a brilliant red number flashed before everyone's eyes. -96. The lackeys watching from the sidelines instantly panicked. They couldn't believe how terrifyingly precise Ni Yan's timing was. With his health bar nearly depleted and backed into a corner, Wei Kai let out a maddened roar. He swung his sword, unleashing Flame Slash, sending a roaring blaze erupting across the grassland. Wei Kai gritted his teeth and screamed, "Just go die!" From the sidelines, Tang Yao saw the flames erupt and yelled, "Ni Yan, watch out!" But Na Yan remained incredibly calm. He knew Wei Kai was trying to use Flame Slash to force him back. If he retreated and let the gap widen his advantage, as a thief would vanish instantly. Besides, with his current health, even if he took the blow head-on, it wouldn't be fatal. The most critical thing right now was to stay in close quarters. As the flames swept over him, his health bar dropped, -56. Seeing this, Wei Kai grew even more aggressive. He laughed mockingly and cursed, shocked that this kid actually dared to tank his skill head-on. Right after, he charged forward like a madman, swinging his greatsword down with a straight slash. Outside, Tang Yao's face turned pale. This skill didn't just deal heavy damage, but also carried a brief stun effect. If it hit Ni Yan, was as good as dead. The lackeys outside began to smirk smugly, convinced that Ni Yan's earlier move had just been a fluke. But before they could even finish their thoughts, something happened on the battlefield that left everyone wide-eyed. Ni Yan had dodged it from such a close distance. He had somehow slipped past the straight slash by a hair. Even Wei Kai stood frozen in disbelief. Meanwhile, Na Yan gripped his dagger, his mind razor-sharp. He had spotted the critical flaw. The effective attack range of a greatsword was actually narrower than a dagger's quick striking distance. He just needed to exploit the split second his opponent missed. This match would end right now. With that thought, he lunged forward like a gust of wind. His dagger struck repeatedly, exploiting the openings in Wei Kai's stance. His attacks were so blindingly fast that the onlookers could barely track them. Finally, Wei Kai's health bar plummeted to 0. Right above him, a final damage indicator flashed -40. Na Yan let out a silent sigh of relief. As expected, he had landed the decisive blow first. Immediately after the system announcement chimed, "You win!" Outside the arena, Tang Yao jumped in the air with excitement. A level 2 thief had defeated a level 3 berserker. It sounded absolutely impossible. Wei Kai's lackeys clutched their heads in disbelief, completely baffled. How on earth did Ni Yan know the berserker's skill ranges so perfectly? Every step, every dodge had been as precise as if practiced thousands of times. Back in reality, Wei Kai sat in stunned silence, staring blankly at the gaming helmet in his hands. He still couldn't wrap his head around the fact that he had actually lost. Tang Yao threw his arm over Ni Yan's shoulder, looking at him like he was some kind of monster. He kept pressing him, asking how a level 2 thief could possibly defeat an opponent who was an entire level ahead. An opponent with such a massive level advantage. Ni Yan only gave a faint smile and replied, "I just got lucky." But Tang Yao wasn't so easily fooled. He immediately pulled him aside and bombarded him with questions, realizing that this guy clearly knew conviction inside out way more than any normal player. "You absolutely have to teach me how to play a mage," Tang Yao insisted. Ni Yan didn't turn him down. Instead, he readily agreed to pass on everything he knew to his friend. Just then, Wei Kai and his crew approached. Tang Yao immediately grew wary, thinking they were about to back out of their debt. But to his surprise, Wei Kai was incredibly polite. He flatly admitted his defeat and even invited the two of them to check out his bar whenever they had time. With that, he turned around and led his men away. His lackeys, still bitter about the loss, couldn't understand why their boss was being so courteous to Ni Yan. Wei Kai just calmly replied that you can't judge a person based solely on their present. He had a strong feeling about Ni Yan. He might very well skyrocket in the future. It's best not to make an enemy out of someone like him. Once they left, Ni Yan, who was in a great mood, made an announcement. "We won quite a bit of cash today, so we're treating ourselves to an amazing feast. As for teaching you how to play a mage, we'll talk about that once we log in tonight." Hearing this, Tang Yao instantly pumped up. Time flew by and night quickly fell. The city was blanketed in darkness save for the brilliant lights beaming from the skyscrapers. In his room, Ni Yun was working out diligently, fully appreciating the perks of having a young body. With just a bit of exercise, his stamina recovered incredibly fast. After finishing his workout, he immediately put on his VR helmet and logged into Conviction. The moment his consciousness connected, the familiar world materialized before his eyes. Ni Yun smiled faintly. "I'm finally back." A series of system notifications chimed. Player Young Sparrowhawk had sent a friend request, and player Flying Stone had left 1 silver coin in his personal storage. Ni Yun quickly accepted the request. He figured Young Sparrowhawk knew Tang Yao. Since that was the case, he might as well bring him along to the Treant Forest this time. As for the Agmote Muddy Swamp Clearance Guide, he didn't plan on selling it again just yet. If I keep selling highly accurate dungeon clearance guides, it'll raise too much suspicion. It's better to let that team wipe a few more times before I bump up the price. But for now, there's a more pressing matter at hand. Ni Yan hurried to hand in his hidden quest. The moment he met Priest Bradley, the quest was triggered. The old man looked at him and asked how many fine silks he had gathered. Ni Yan simply handed over the 30 pieces of fine silk he had collected. Bradley was extremely pleased. He thanked him for his help and decided to teach him a special skill. A system notification popped up. "Do you want to learn intermediate combat bandaging?" from Priest Bradley. When Ni Yan saw this, he was absolutely thrilled. This skill was the real reason he had run this quest in the first place. He immediately chose to learn it. The system prompt updated, "You have learned intermediate combat bandaging. You can now craft and use intermediate combat bandages. Required materials 10 fine silks. Bradley's hidden quest is now 20% complete." Ni Yan was a bit surprised. He had assumed that handing over enough fine silk would complete the quest once and for all. He didn't expect it to only be at 20%. This could only mean one thing: it was a quest line. Sure enough, Bradley went on to say that the current amount of fine silk was still not enough. He needed much more. Ni Yan immediately agreed to help, feeling even more certain that his guess was correct. Just then, Jie Yao's voice rang out in the voice channel. The whole team had assembled and was only waiting for him. Ni Yan didn't hesitate. The quest line could wait. Right now, the most important thing was getting the Featherfall Jewel from the Treant Forest. The scene quickly shifted to the teleportation portal of the small town where Tang Yao was waiting. He was grumbling about Ni Yan taking so long, but the moment he saw him, he rushed over and asked, "Are we really hunting the Treant King today?" Ni Yan simply smiled and said, "Let's go." Just then, a group of players walked over from a distance. As soon as Jie Yao saw him, she waved and called out. Tang Yao, standing nearby, stared at the two girls in the team with his eyes lit up. He never imagined that Ni Yan would know two absolute beauties. Meanwhile, Jie Yao took the chance to remind Ni Yan that she had gone to great lengths to convince Yulan to join their team, so he absolutely must not embarrass her in front of everyone. Chenbo stood nearby, arms crossed with a hostile expression on his face. On the other hand, Yulan politely greeted everyone, quietly sizing up Ni Yan. She noticed that this thief looked remarkably calm. His composed and mature bearing didn't resemble a newbie at all. In fact, he carried the aura of a true expert. Ni Yan didn't beat around the bush and straight up declared that he was 100% confident in clearing the Treant Forest. However, there was a condition: the entire team had to follow his command. The group fell dead silent. Chenbo was the first to object. He frowned and questioned, "Why on earth should we listen to a thief like you? What if you don't know what you're doing and lead us all to a total wipe?" Yulan immediately chimed in to remind Chenbo that they had already discussed this beforehand. What's the point of picking a fight now? But this only irritated Chenbo further. He couldn't understand why Yulan was defending an outsider. Sensing the growing tension, Yulan stepped in to defuse the situation. She apologized to Nayayan on Chenbo's behalf and told him to go ahead and form the party. I'll have everyone join. Nayayan gave a cool nod, but before creating the party, he made the rules clear. Once you're in my party, you must absolutely obey my commands. If anyone has a problem with that, you can come settle the score with me after we leave the dungeon. But if anyone intentionally messes around and causes a wipe while we're clearing it, don't blame me for showing no mercy. His tone was calm, yet it carried an overwhelming weight. That left the group temporarily speechless. Right after a series of system notifications chimed as the party was created, and everyone joined Ni Yan's team one by one. Yulan crossed her arms, stood to the side, and declared, "From now on, Captain Nirvana Flame's orders are my orders. If anyone tries to play games behind our backs, then you won't need to show up in this team ever again." Hearing this, even Chenbo could only grit his teeth and fall in. Once everyone had gathered, Ni Yan calmly explained that their goal was to clear the Traint Forest. Except for me and Dusk, the rest of you are friends. So even if you don't like me, there's no need to gamble with the team's lives. Moreover, if my leadership really leads to a failure, I'm willing to compensate each of you 10 silver coins. Hearing that number, the team was instantly stunned. 10 silver coins was a massive fortune for players right now. Even Yulan couldn't help but look at Ni Yan a few more times. This guy was not only confident, but had an aura that made others instinctively trust him. Yao Yao smiled proudly beside him. She had said all along that Nirvana Flame could do it. Ni Yan stopped wasting time and began inspecting their lineup. He asked everyone to state their class and stats. The first was the fighter Bai Kaishui. With extremely high defense and health, he was the team's main tank. Next was Steamed Dumpling, another fighter acting as off-tank, and finally Blaze the Elementalist, who had decent magic damage. After hearing all the stats, Ni Yan immediately began assigning tasks. He asked Bai Kaishui to buy a haste scroll and Pumpkin to buy a strength scroll. Hearing this, everyone was stunned. These scrolls were extremely expensive. Normally, no one would use them in a low-level dungeon. Bai Kaishui couldn't help but ask, "Isn't this a bit too expensive? What if we can't even make our money back?" Beside them, Chenbo sneered. He thought Ni Yan had some brilliant tactic. But if it was just about burning money on scrolls, even he could lead the team and clear it. But Tang Yao immediately fired back, mocking Chenbo to his face, saying that if he couldn't afford them, he could lend him some money first. That instantly made Chenbo flush red with anger. Seeing this, Yao Yao hurriedly pulled Ni Yan aside to ask in a low voice. She was worried whether clearing the Traint Forest on normal difficulty really required so many scrolls. What if we end up losing money? But Na Yan only smiled to reassure her. He said they would understand when the time came and that these scrolls definitely wouldn't go to waste. However, he kept one thing to himself. His real target wasn't normal difficulty. What he wanted to conquer was the hardest difficulty specialist. Seeing his calm demeanor, Yulan finally spoke up, telling everyone to follow his orders. Once fully prepared, the party set off quickly, heading deep into the gloomy forest. They stopped before an area filled with bizarre ancient trees. Ni Yan turned and told everyone to stay put while he went to open the dungeon. As soon as his hand touched the massive stone slab, the system immediately displayed a notification. Ancient runes appeared on the stone's surface, telling of a forest that absorbed the morning dew and of a shepherd's flute echoing among the trees, and the ancient souls slumbering within the Traint Forest. It also mentioned traces of dark elves appearing in the woods. Ni Yan frowned slightly as he read the introduction. Those dark elves really weren't behaving. Then the difficulty selection interface appeared before him. Without a second thought, Ni Yan selected Specialist Difficulty. In an instant, the team was sucked into the instance. The scenery shifted violently and everyone materialized inside the Traint Forest. But when they saw the words Specialist Difficulty, the entire team went dead silent. A few thought Ni Yan had made a mistake and Blaze's face paled. This difficulty was simply not something their team could handle. Only Yulan remained silent, watching Ni Yan. She felt that someone like him would never make such a rookie mistake, which meant that from the very beginning his target was Specialist Difficulty. Chenbo finally lost his temper and barked, accusing Ni Yan of dragging them in here to get them killed. To him, choosing Specialist was as good as getting everyone wiped out and losing experience. But Nayayan only looked back coldly. "Since I brought you all in here, I obviously have a way to lead you out. If anyone's not happy with that, you can leave the party right now. His words instantly silenced Chenbo. Yao Yao also stepped up to defend, Ni Yan stating clearly that she was the one who invited him. If Chenbo had an issue, he should take it up with her instead of constantly giving Na Yan a hard time. This only made Chenbo feel more resentful. He didn't expect Yao Yao to defend an outsider so fiercely. Ignoring everyone's stares, Ni Yan continued explaining the dungeon mechanics. According to him, specialist difficulty wasn't as terrifying as they thought. The monsters only had 30% more health, along with higher defense requirements for the fighters and higher damage for the mages. The trickiest part is the boss, the Treant King. But when we get there, I'll tell everyone exactly how to deal with it. Hearing him speak so casually, even Yulan began to doubt herself. In a specialist dungeon, just a slight lack of damage or a tiny deficit in defense could lead to a total team wipe. Yet Ni Yan talked about it like it was a walk in the park. She couldn't understand where this guy's confidence came from. Still, when she asked him once more, Ni Yan simply replied with calm assurance that there would be no issues. Behind them, Chenbo sneered inwardly. He wanted to see how this guy would lead them to clear a specialist dungeon. The party continued deeper into the forest. A cold wind blew constantly, making the atmosphere even more gloomy. Suddenly, Ni Yan's expression sharpened, and he shouted a warning. "We've entered the Treant's attack range. These monsters will use their vines to ambush us from a distance." Everyone split up. But before he could even finish, countless vines suddenly burst from the ground. As if possessed by a mind of their own, they wrapped tightly around Chenbo. In the blink of an eye, his body was dragged up into the air. The vines tightened around him, squeezing so hard that he let out a horrific scream. At the same time, a massive treant slowly emerged from the shadows, letting out a menacing roar. Chenbo was finally truly terrified, panic setting in as he struggled frantically. Struggling wildly, he turned to Na Yan for help. "Captain Nirvana Flame, save me!" Chenbo's leg was trapped so tightly by the vines that his face had turned pale and he couldn't stop screaming for his life. Seeing the giant monster emerge from the forest, Ni Yan immediately recognized it as a treant. Without a single second of hesitation, he began shouting out rapid-fire orders. "Boiling water with dumplings, flank right and attack paladin, set up the front-line defense, mages, focus all your firepower." Na Yan's voice was sharp and decisive. It was as if he had planned for everything beforehand. Hearing their commander's orders, the team reacted on pure instinct. 2 shield warriors raised their shields and charged forward immediately. They blocked the treant's attacks while a barrage of spells rained down from behind. Flames, light, and magic exploded repeatedly in the forest until finally the massive body of the treant was blasted to pieces and collapsed to the ground. Having just escaped death, Chenbo immediately turned on Ni Yan, accusing him of knowing the treant was there all along, but intentionally choosing not to. Warn him, otherwise, how could he have remained so calm and in control during such a sudden attack? Na Yan only gave him a cold look. He pointed out that the entire party had spotted the treant at the same time, and even the slow shield warriors had managed to dodge it. Yet as a thief, you couldn't even dodge it. I really don't understand how someone with your skills can even play a thief. Hearing this, someone nearby immediately burst out laughing in mockery. "Your skills are trash, yet you love to blame others. We could drag any random thief off the street, and they'd probably be better than you." Chenbo was left utterly speechless, his face flushing bright red with embarrassment and rage, unable to find a single word to fight back. Seeing the tension rise again, Yulan stepped in to stop it. She snapped at Chenbo to stop making a scene, asking if he hadn't embarrassed himself enough already, but those words only fueled his anger. He couldn't believe even Yulan was siding with Ni Yan. Meanwhile, Ni Yan didn't care about his attitude in the slightest. He gestured for everyone to keep moving forward, warning them that the treant forest was full of traps laid by dark elves. "From here on out, I'll lead the way and clear the path," he said. After saying this, he cast a deliberate glance at Chenbo and added coldly, "If you don't know how to play a thief, then today I'll teach you." The team continued deeper into the forest where the wind whistled through the canopy, creating an eerie, chilling sound. Na Yan led the way as the 5 figures moved nimbly through the dense bushes and vines. Suddenly, someone from behind screamed a warning. A massive net had suddenly appeared above Ni Yan, dropping straight down toward him. But he simply drew his dagger with ease and slashed with lightning speed. The giant net was shredded to pieces mid-air. His movements were so fluid and graceful it looked like a master performance. Tang Yao's eyes lit up in awe. He really hadn't expected Ni Yan's thief skills to be this insane. Even Yulan couldn't help but marvel at how terrifyingly fast and efficient he was at disarming traps and clearing the path. But Chenbo still refused to swallow his pride. He scoffed coldly, muttering that he could easily do the same. But before the words could even leave his mouth, a sharp crack sounded beneath his feet. A giant pit trap suddenly gaped open, and before Chenbo could even react, he fell straight in. Seeing the rows of sharp spikes at the bottom, he was scared out of his mind. But just in the nick of time, a hand grabbed his leg. Na Yun leaned over, gripping him firmly, and powerfully hauled him back up to the surface. After saving him, Ni Yun calmly brushed off his hands and said, "This is the first time I've ever seen a thief who is such an absolute noob." Having just escaped death, Chenbo instantly lost his temper. He accused Ni Yan of intentionally setting him up, arguing that Na Yan had walked right over that exact spot without triggering anything. Tang Yao scoffed in disbelief at his audacity. If Na Yan hadn't saved him, the guy would be a corpse by now, yet he dared to blame his own savior. Meanwhile, Ni Yan crossed his arms and looked at Chenbo like he was an idiot. He pointed out that Chenbo had stepped into the trap himself, not because anyone pushed him. Did he really think that just because Na Yan walked somewhere, it had to be completely safe? Was he seriously expecting that? At the end of the day, his skills were just too garbage. He didn't deserve to play a swift thief at all. Those words pushed Chenbo completely over the edge. He drew his sword and charged. Screaming that he wanted to duel Na Yan, he swung his blade down only for Ni Yan to effortlessly catch the tip with his bare hands. The move was so casual it was as if he were just playing around. Looking down at Chenbo, he said coldly, "If you want a duel, you should at least bring a few more people. Fighting you alone is just too boring." At that moment, Chenbo's face went completely pale. He had absolutely no idea how Ni Yan had managed to stop his sword bare-handed. Yulan finally lost her patience and snapped, shouting, "Chenbo, that is enough!" He had clearly stepped on the trap himself, and Na Yan had saved his life, yet he was still acting so ungrateful. Xia Yao also looked at him in disappointment. She had no idea Chenbo could be this incredibly unreasonable. But Chenbo stubbornly insisted everything was Ni Yan's fault. In his mind, an outsider like Ni Yan didn't deserve to have everyone taking his side. Even boiling water couldn't hold back anymore. He bluntly pointed out that Ni Yan hadn't done a single thing wrong from start to finish. It was Chenbo who kept looking for trouble, facing backlash from the entire party. Chenbo finally snapped completely. Snarling, he spat out that he wanted to see just how Ni Yan was going to lead the party to clear this dungeon. Right after a system notification chimed, player Chenbo has left the party. After his departure, Xiao immediately apologized to Na Yan, feeling guilty for dragging him into this mess. But Ni Yan just gave a faint smile and told her not to worry about it. With one less troublemaker around, it's actually much easier to get things done. Still, he silently thought to himself that if he wanted smooth dungeon runs in the future, it would be best to build his own dedicated party. Yulan quickly composed herself and urged everyone to keep pushing through the dungeon. Half an hour later, Ni Yan returned after scouting ahead. He reported that the path ahead was completely blocked by treants, with a total of 18 treants blocking the way. Just hearing that number, everyone's faces immediately darkened. Yulan couldn't hide her anxiety either. With their current lineup, it was virtually impossible for them to handle so many treants at once. But Ni Yan remained incredibly calm. He remarked that he wasn't foolish enough to have the whole team charge head-on against 18 monsters at the same time. Having said that, he suddenly bent down to gather momentum, then leaped high into the air. His movements were so blindingly fast that they startled everyone. Yulan cried out in shock, asking what he was planning to do. Under the bewildered gazes of the entire team, Ni Yun slowly unsheathed his dagger. A cold light gleamed off the blade amidst the dark forest. Only one thought occupied his mind. Today he would let these people witness firsthand what a god-tier pulling technique truly looked like. Leaping forward, Na Yan instantly drew his hand crossbow and fired a rapid succession of bolts toward the distant treants. Each arrow tore through the air at lightning speed, causing everyone's faces to turn pale. They thought his hand had slipped and he had shot by mistake. If he accidentally pulled every single treant ahead toward them, the entire team would surely be wiped out instantly. Yet the moment Ni Yan touched the ground, he calmly ordered Bai Kai Shui to stand in a specific position, leaving everyone utterly confused about his intentions. In the distance, the enraged treants began charging toward them. Strangely, despite the attacks, their health bars only decreased by a single point of damage. Standing to the side, Yulan. It stared in utter disbelief. She never expected Ni Yun to fire 3 consecutive shots with his hand crossbow, with each shot precisely angled to pull monsters from 3 entirely different spots. This level of pulling technique was something she had only heard of in legends. Even more terrifying was how closely packed the 18 treants were. A single minor mistake, and the entire horde would come crashing down on them. Yet Ni Yun had not only found the perfect angle to stand, but he had also successfully pulled them out in separate, manageable groups. This level of vision and reaction speed was practically a god-tier challenge for a thief. Even the elite thieves on the leaderboards would struggle to pull it off. The more Yulan thought about it, the more shocked she became. If their team had a thief like Ni Yun from the start, their survival rate in dungeons would have gone up by at least 30%. Standing next to her, Xie Yao was also staring in awe. She truly had no idea that Ni Yun was this powerful. Before anyone could recover from their shock, a fierce battle broke out. Ni Yun constantly directed the formation, instructing Bai Kaishui to tank one treant on his own and maintain his balance. As long as he didn't stumble, that monster couldn't do a thing to him. Meanwhile, the rest of the team immediately focused their fire as directed, aiming to take down the other target first. Brilliant bursts of magic constantly exploded throughout the forest. The treants roared in fury, but were steadily pushed back. Bai Kaishui had been anxious at first, but after following Ni Yun's directions, he realized it actually worked. No matter how ferocious the treant was, it couldn't break his defense. Yulan quickly called out, telling Bai Kaishui to hang in there. They were almost done on their end and would back him up immediately. Under the team's seamless coordination, the 2 treants finally fell one after another. The moment the monsters collapsed, Yulan's eyes instantly lit up as she cried, "An item dropped!" The entire team rushed forward to inspect the loot. Having slain only 2 treants, a mage's bronze handguards had already dropped, making everyone too excited to believe their eyes. Previously, when they ran the treant forest on easy difficulty, they could go the whole day without seeing a single decent item. Yet they had only just entered the specialist difficulty dungeon, and gear was already dropping. Intrigued, Xie Yao immediately asked Ni Yun how he had pulled that off. "How on earth did you do that?" But he merely gave a soft smile and replied, "I told you right from the start. I'm going to carry you all through this specialist difficulty dungeon." After that, he instructed the team to use the same tactic to clear out the remaining treants in the area. This time, not a single soul doubted him, and they all responded in unison. As time went on, more and more treants were pulled out and dispatched, boosting the team's confidence with every kill. 20 minutes later, everyone was chatting excitedly. As the team continued deeper into the dark forest, a faint, eerie sound of a flute suddenly echoed through the air. Hearing it, a smirk immediately played on Ni Yun's lips. Finally found him. The one playing the flute ahead of them was none other than Einpat, the treant caretaker, who guarded this forest. According to the original lore under Einpat's watch, the treants and humans had lived in peace. But at some point, for reasons unknown, dark elves began appearing in the treant forest, driving the treants mad and causing them to slaughter humans indiscriminately. That was why the Greenland Council had to recruit adventurers to venture in here. Their goal was to eliminate the treant king. However, the moment Einpat saw the team, he immediately urged them to leave. Once night falls, the treants' power under the moonlight becomes absolutely terrifying. But Ni Yun stepped forward, gave a respectful bow, and explained that their goal was to eliminate the rampaging treants. Upon hearing this, Einpat instantly grew furious. He spat out that the ones who truly deserved to die weren't the treants, but those vile creatures from deep underground. "Those filthy dark elves stole my flute, throwing the treant forest into chaos." Standing behind him, Yulan listened in utter disbelief. Ni Yun was clearly triggering an incredibly well-hidden quest line. She couldn't wrap her head around how he could locate such a secretive NPC. Even Xie Yao could only shake her head, realizing she couldn't read this man at all anymore. Beside her, Tang Yao was also quietly stunned. Since when had his best friend become so incredibly formidable? Meanwhile, Ni Yun knew all too well that without triggering this quest line, there was absolutely no way the team could defeat the treant king on specialist difficulty. So playing along, he quickly told Einpat that he had spotted traces of the dark elves the moment they entered the forest. Hearing this, Einpat became agitated, rushing forward to grab Ni Yun's shoulders. "If that's true, then this is wonderful. Those 2 dark elves stole my flute and threw everything into chaos." With that, Einpat handed Ni Yun a special item called Disillusioning Powder, which could strip the dark elves of their stealth. As long as they killed the thieves and retrieved the flute, the team would have a fighting chance against the maddened treant king. The system immediately displayed a new quest notification, and 3 pouches of disillusioning powder were awarded to the team. Upon receiving the items, Ni Yan turned around and told everyone to keep following him. He casually snapped off a branch and swung himself down into the deep ravine ahead. The others hurriedly followed behind. Along the way, Yulan couldn't help but ask if he could actually locate those 2 dark elves. Ni Yan simply smiled and assured her, "Of course I can." Before long, the team entered a frigid, ice-covered path. Na Yan stopped and quietly explained that this place was the trap he had laid for the 2 dark elves. Zi Yao was taken aback and asked, "How do you know they're here?" But Na Yan's response sent a shiver down everyone's spine. "Because those 2 dark elves have been tailing us from the very beginning." The moment he spoke, a swirl of dark mist materialized in the freezing air. Ni Yan's gaze sharpened instantly. He slowly tightened his grip on his dagger and hissed a warning, "They're here." Staring at the dark mist ahead, Ni Yan grimly reminded the team, "Those 2 dark elves are extremely cowardly. We only have 1 shot. If we let them slip away, catching them again will be next to impossible." Just as he finished speaking, a massive foot slowly emerged from the dark fog ahead, taking a step forward. The team immediately tensed up as they pushed deeper into the ice cave where the freezing air made it hard to breathe. Suddenly, Na Yan bolted forward. He shouted that they had walked right into a trap. His body leaped onto the icy wall, and like a hunting panther, he pounced over. Hidden behind the 2 impish elves, had no idea they'd been spotted freezing in shock. By the time they snapped out of it, they panicked and turned to flee, only to find Tang Yao blocking their path. With a cold smirk, he asked, "Where do you think you 2 are going?" On the other side, plain boiled water had already cut off their retreat. Seeing their retreat cut off, the 2 dark elves flew into a frenzy and lunged to counterattack. One of them lashed out with sharp claws, aiming straight for Tang Yao, but plain boiled water charged in just in time to parry the blow with his sword. Immediately after, Tang Yao quickly channeled his mana, manifesting a giant fireball and hurling it forward. A deafening explosion instantly shook the entire frozen cave. Yulan also swiftly ordered the rest of the team to move in and support, while Ni Yan pointed directly at the 2 dark elves and shouted, "Einpat's flute is on them!" Spurred on by his words, the team fought with even greater intensity. Na Yan took the opportunity to close the distance, preparing to land a finishing blow as one of the dark elves frantically swung its blade in retaliation. But Ni Yan's movements were unbelievably swift. He tilted his body to dodge the attack, then instantly countered with a devastating, critical strike. The battle within the frozen cave was pure chaos. Ultimately, under the team's combined onslaught, the 2 dark elves were completely defeated. As he caught sight of the item dropping to the ground, Ni Yan finally let out a sigh of relief. Einpat's flute was back in their hands. With this in their possession, their chances of clearing the Treant Forest on specialist difficulty had skyrocketed. Just then, Xie Yao suddenly called out, telling Ni Yan to come over quickly because she had found something highly unusual. Ni Yan walked over and took it, only to realize it was a secret letter. As he read its contents, his expression shifted. The letter detailed intelligence from a dark elf named Vasarine, stating that the Drow tribe was about to launch a counterattack on the Hilton stronghold. The system immediately prompted a notification triggering a new branching quest that required him to deliver the secret letter to Commander Kavrote. Curious about the warning of an upcoming ambush, Xie Yao asked what was written on it, as she couldn't understand a single word of that elvish language. Ni Yan explained that it was a side quest, and they just needed to return to the city and hand it in after leaving the Treant Forest. Hearing about an extra hidden quest, Bai Kaisui and Blaze got excited instantly, both of them curious about how generous the rewards would be this time. After that, Nia Yan handed Einpat's flute directly to Bai Kaisui to use. Seeing its stats, which added 300 health points, Bai Kaisui was almost driving himself crazy with joy. With this item in hand, he was no longer that afraid, even if he had to face the Treant King head-on. The entire team instantly fired up and kept moving forward, while Tang Yao looked at them and secretly smiled. At first, these guys had doubted and resented Nia Yan, but now their attitudes had completely done a 180. Tang Yao thought, "That's my brother for you." The scene quickly transitioned to an area deeper inside the Treant Forest. Dust filled the air and the corpses of Treants littered the ground. After several consecutive battles, the team was beginning to coordinate better and better. As the last Treant fell, it dropped a bronze-grade round shield. Bai Kaisui's eyes lit up when he saw its stats. The shield could increase defense by 10%. It was way stronger than any gear he had ever used before. Yulan felt a bit embarrassed to speak up to Ni Yan. She knew it was a bit much to ask since all of today's loot was only obtained because he was leading the team, but she still wanted to buy this round shield for her team. Deep down, she knew very well that if they had this gear, they would be capable of entering higher-level dungeons in the future, even without Ni Yan leading them. However, Ni Yan didn't mind at all. He calmly replied that he only needed gear for thieves and the Featherfall jewel from the Treant King. The rest of the drops were going to be sold for money anyway, and selling them to anyone was still selling. If they wanted it, they could just take it first. Yulan was overjoyed and immediately thanked him. Even Jie Yao felt a bit guilty, feeling that Nia Yan was being far too generous to her team. But right at that moment, the ground shook violently. A giant branch burst through the ground and shot straight into the air. Everyone scrambled to dodge in a panic. Nia Yan barked out a warning, telling everyone to watch out. The final boss had appeared. He quickly started organizing their formation, heavily armored warriors on the front line, close combat classes following right behind, and everyone had to follow his orders to the letter. Right after that, a massive figure slowly emerged from the forest. The Treant King, a level 4 lord of the Treant Forest, had finally arrived. Its deep rumbling voice echoed through the area. It roared, cursing the wretched humans who dared to trespass on its territory. At the same time, countless giant vines swept wildly across the battlefield, but while everyone else was busy dodging, Ni Yan had somehow already appeared right next to the boss. He ducked and weaved through the attacks with absolute precision. Standing behind Yulan watched completely speechless. She had never seen a level 2 thief who could face off against a level 4 lord so effortlessly. Every single move Nia Yan made seemed pre-calculated. As he fought, he continuously barked out commands telling Bai Kaisui to get up front and hold the boss. All melee classes were to stand behind him, and the mages had to stay absolutely clear of a 30-meter radius around the Treant King. Bai Kaisui roared and rushed forward using his taunt skill. A damage number popped up, but he instantly realized the boss's defense was terrifyingly high. Right then, Ni Yan suddenly yelled for the mages to strike. Instantly, fire and ice magic exploded in midair and slammed down hard onto the Treant King's body. The entire team was putting everything they had into this final showdown. Explosion after explosion rattled the battlefield as fireballs, ice arrows, and all kinds of spells hammered relentlessly against the Treant King's massive frame. Damage. Numbers popped up one after another amidst the thick smoke. Though the boss's health was slowly ticking down, its overwhelming aura still felt suffocating. Through the sea of dust, the team kept charging forward, fighting with everything they had. The Treant King roared in a frenzy, sweeping its heavy vines toward them. A direct hit sent their health bars plunging. Right then, Ni Yan shouted for Bai Kaisui to use Einpat's flute. Without a second thought, Bai Kaisui raised the flute to his lips, playing an ancient melody that echoed through the forest. The system instantly notified them that all of the Treant King's stats were reduced by 50%. The tide of the battle shifted immediately, and Ni Yan seized the chance to keep directing them. He reminded all the mages to focus on fire magic and avoid ice magic entirely, since the Treant King's ice resistance was incredibly high. Hearing this, Tang Yao immediately let out an excited grin. Fire magic was his absolute specialty. Mid-battle, Na Yang quickly turned to ask the female priest if she had learned any dispel skills. Once she confirmed she had, he immediately warned everyone to brace themselves. The Treant King would soon cast a fear spell. If Bai Kaisui got hit by the crowd control, the priest had to dispel it instantly. Noticing her nervousness, Ni Yan reassured her, telling her to just wait for his signal before casting it. Bai Kaisui was currently giving his all to block the boss's devastating attacks. Just as the fear effect was about to trigger, Ni Yan bellowed out, "Petikiti iditi isting," telling her to dispel it right now. By reflex, the priest immediately cast her divine spell. A holy light enveloped Bai Kaisui, breaking him free from the crowd control. In that split second, Bai Kaisui cheered, yelling, "Nice job!" Even the priest herself was surprised she could time her support so perfectly. As the team's morale soared, the Treant King's health began to drop rapidly. But the more health the boss lost, the more frenzied it became. A terrifying roar shook the entire forest, causing the ground to tremble violently. Seeing the boss's state change, Ni Yan immediately warned everyone to get ready. The Treant King was about to enter its berserk state. Yulan was horrified. She never expected that a specialist difficulty boss would actually go berserk, just like the rumors said. Na Yan quickly closed in on the boss, and ordered Bai Kaisui to switch to a full defense stance. At the same time, all priests had to down mana potions and focus entirely on healing while the mages kept chanting spells from the back. Just then, the Treant King slammed down a devastating strike. A massive damage number popped up over Bai Kaisui's head. A single blow nearly cost him his life. Bai Kaisui gritted his teeth, shocked by how terrifying the boss's damage was. If this kept up, he wouldn't be able to hold out much longer. But at that critical moment, multiple healing spells enveloped his body instantly, pulling his nearly depleted health bar right back up. Boiling water raised his shield once again, blocking the Treant King. It was only at this moment that he truly understood the significance of all their preparations. Without Einpat's flute to weaken the boss's stats, and without the health and mana potions Ni Yan had insisted they buy from the start, there was no way he could have survived this. The attacks from a specialist-grade lord are brutal. Suddenly, the Treant King's body began to contort violently as a terrifying surge of energy swept across the battlefield. The boss was about to unleash its ultimate skill, War Trample. Seeing the boss about to make a desperate final stand, Ni Yan immediately rushed forward and roared, "Its health is low! Everyone give it everything you've got and kill it now!" Boiling Water immediately used Heroic Strike and charged forward. Yulan also unleashed her holy slash, hacking heavily into the boss's massive trunk. A barrage of attacks rained down like a relentless storm. Amidst the chaos, Ni Yan suddenly burst forward with incredible speed. The dagger in his hand tore through the air, piercing straight into the Treant King's mouth, landing a perfect critical hit. The boss's blood and sap sprayed everywhere. With a final agonizing roar, the Treant King collapsed, its voice fading into the rising dust. The entire battlefield fell dead silent. Then, the entire team erupted into cheers of excitement. The Treant King is finally dead. They had actually cleared it. They cleared Specialist Treant Forest. Yao Yao was so happy she almost burst into tears. She never expected that their team would one day clear a specialist tier dungeon this difficult. The mage beside her couldn't hide her excitement either. If not for Ni Yan's leadership, she knew they would have never pulled this off. Even Boiling Water found it hard to believe. This was the first time he had successfully stood his ground against a specialist-grade boss. The sense of accomplishment felt even more amazing than when he cleared his very first dungeon. While everyone was still basking in the joy of victory, golden pillars of light erupted around the party. Everyone realized with excitement that they had leveled up. But on the other side of the clearing, Ni Yan quietly walked over to the Treant King's corpse. His eyes were locked onto an item that had just dropped. Finally, I got it. All the effort today was solely for this. A status window popped up before him. Featherfall Jewel, dark gold grade. As a brilliant light enveloped his body, Ni Yan smiled faintly. I've reached level 3 as well. The screen displayed the Treant Forest clear rewards. Boiling Water exclaimed in excitement, "No way, our team's honor value increased by 1,200. Another teammate chimed in, "I've never seen it increase by that much before." Ni Yan said, "You guys can split the rest of the loot among yourselves, I won't interfere. Next we just need to head back to Kalori City to hand in the quest." Someone said excitedly, "That's right. There are also rewards from the side quest." Yulan spoke up, "Thank you, Nirvana Flame. I honestly don't even know how to properly thank you." The scene shifts to the teleportation point in Kalori City. Chenbo stood in the distance, silently watching the group. He thought to himself, "They're back. How did every single one of them level up? Nirvana Flame, right, I'll remember you. I will never forget the humiliation you brought upon me as long as I live." Near the fluttering banners of Kalori City's military, the commander spoke, "Young man, what brings you here?" He took out a letter and replied, "Respected Commander, we captured 2 dark elves in the Treant Forest and obtained intelligence regarding Huan's main base." The commander's face filled with astonishment as he praised him. "Young man, you've done us a massive favor. I shall prepare your rewards." System notifications popped up repeatedly. Side quest completed. Commander Kavrodi has bestowed combat techniques. Ni Yan pondered, "I didn't expect this. An extra 2 strength points and a skill book. This hidden quest is a massive steal." He spoke aloud, "Since the quest is handed in, we should head out." Qi Yao asked curiously, "What are you planning to do next?" Ni Yan replied, "Grind monsters and level up, of course." In his mind, he thought, "Now that I have the Featherfall Jewel, I can try taking on the elite Gato the Lion King." She turned and waved, saying, "All right then, see you next time. If we sell those pieces of equipment later, I'll send you your share of the gold." He smiled and replied, "See you." Just then, Tang Yao ran over and clung to his leg. "Brother Yan." "No, God Yan. After running a dungeon with you, I'm completely in awe. Quickly teach me how to pull off those OP plays." Ni Yan replied, "Sure, but we need to get you a new set of gear first." He then went to the blacksmith to buy some items. Looking at the new armor, Ni-Yun remarked, "Not bad, let's go to Thunder Mountain to level up. While we're there, I'll teach you how to pull off those OP plays." Tang Yao was thrilled. "That's awesome." The scene shifted to the gloomy Thunder Mountain. Ni-Yun spoke, "There are tons of bats inside the caves of Thunder Mountain. They drop bat teeth. I'm giving you 1 hour to see how many bat teeth you can collect." Tang Yao replied, "Just watch me." Quickly positioning his feet, Tang Yao dashed forward, charging straight into the cave. Ahead of him, a ferocious bat came flying right at him. Suddenly, the entire area was engulfed by a massive wave of energy. He smiled with confidence. "That's one down." Outside, Ni-Yun replied, "In that case, I can't just stand here and do nothing either." He moved in a flash, leaving behind only trails of light. With a single strike, Ni-Yun took down countless bats. As system notifications of obtaining bat teeth popped up, he thought to himself, "Half an hour has already passed. I wonder how Tang Yao is doing over there." The moment the call connected, Tang Yao screamed, "Ni-Yun, save me! I've been cornered by red-named players." He replied, "Tang Yao, if I'm not wrong, they're probably from the Radiant Sacred Flame Guild. Hide yourself well. I'll be there right away." Tang Yao replied, "Don't worry, the terrain of Thunder Mountain is complex. I'm leading them on a wild goose chase so they won't catch up to me anytime soon." He wondered, "But how on earth did you run into them?" Tang Yao replied, "I don't even know. I was grinding bats when I stumbled upon a level 3 boss. I wanted to call you over to take it down together, but I got ambushed out of nowhere. They seem to be red-named PKers who camp here to kill players and steal their gear." He got it, replying, "Got it. Keep leading them around. I'll deal with them." As soon as Ni-Yun reached the cliff, he stopped in his tracks and muttered, "Sure enough, someone is guarding the entrance." Dian-song barked, "Still haven't caught that punk yet." His underling replied, "Don't worry, Boss Dian Kang, he won't get away, but honestly, that kid, doesn't seem to have any good gear on him. He looks dirt poor." Ni-Yun sneered to himself. "If a red-named player gets killed, every single piece of gear on them will drop. If I'm not mistaken, that red-named elemental mage over there is wearing the Fire Chaser set. But since they have the guts to go red-named to ambush players, they must be highly confident in their own strength. I can't let my guard down." As he stealthily closed in on Dian Kang, the boss suddenly sensed something. His underling asked in confusion, "Boss Dian Kang, what's wrong?" They stood there as Ni-Yun's aura came into view. Dian Kang smirked, "Kid, I've been waiting for you. Eyeing my gear, are you? But do you have the guts and the life to take it?" Seeing this, the others shouted, "It's a thief, kill him!" He thought to himself, "This elemental mage knows what he's doing. I can't let him gain any distance." A chaotic battle broke out. System notifications kept flashing. "You are under attack. You may retaliate in self-defense." Step by step, Ni-Yun closed in on Dian Kang. Shocked, Dian-song thought, "This lunatic is tanking my ring of fire damage just to get close. Why is he so damn fast?" Ni-Yun unleashed a powerful assassinate strike. Refusing to back down, Dian Kang countered with a scorching burst, shouting, "Watch out! He used a speed scroll." His underlings joined the fray, unleashing fiery slash. Violent energy surged around Ni-Yun. One of them gloated, "Taste my holy light, you damn thief." The battlefield exploded into pure chaos. Ni-Yun calculated, "The cast time for Scorching Burst is 5 seconds. I still have time." He made his move instantly. Ni-Yun charged straight at Dian Kang. Caught off guard, Dian Kang took the hit head-on. The system alerted, "Dian Kang has been stunned." Without a moment's pause, Ni-Yun followed up with another strike, shredding his health bar. Dian Kang went pale with terror and screamed, "Damn it, I'm about to die!" "What are you all doing? Get him off me quick." An underling rushed over, shouting, "Boss Dian Kang, this thief is too fast. He's faster than anyone I've ever seen. We can't even touch him." The two sides clashed. Suddenly, Ni-Yun planted his feet, launched himself into a high flip, and vaulted over them, leaving Dian Kang looking up in utter shock. Ni-Yun decisively delivered a fatal blow. The system notified, "You have killed a red-named player. You gained 1 reputation point. Higher reputation makes it easier to obtain quests." The underlings panicked. "Oh no, Boss Dian Kang dropped all his gear. Get it back quick." Ni-Yun calmly dodged their attacks. "He's finished, and the Fire Chaser set is mine." One of them unleashed a single-line slash, shouting, "Don't let him get away if we let him escape." How are we going to explain this to Boss Dian Kang? Ni-Yun's movement speed was incredible. Even amidst the chaos, he calmly applied a combat bandage, thinking to himself, "With my speed, there's no way they can catch up." One of them noticed, Oh crap, he's using combat bandage to regenerate health. Ni Yan smirked. His health was fully restored and his cooldowns were ready. He quickly circled behind them. A plume of smoke erupted as he lunged toward them. Now, it's your turn. Diantong's underling gritted his teeth and swung his sword, but Ni Yan lightly stepped on the blade itself, preparing to deliver a fatal blow. Ni Yan deftly twirled his dagger and unleashed Assassinate to finish him off. The furious underling swung wildly, screaming, "Get away from me!" Ni Yan drew another weapon and fired a bolt piercing the man's chest. Watching his health bar plummet, the underling panicked. Damn it, my health is in the red. If I keep fighting this thief, all my gear might drop too. But Ni Yan was already behind him. Do you really think you can escape? With a final strike, Dian Kang's underling collapsed, dropping his gear on the spot. Ni Yan then turned his gaze toward the last man standing. Your turn. He shrieked in terror. How am I the only one left? How is a priest supposed to fight a thief? Intimidating killing intent filled the air. Ni Yan's voice dripped with malice. You seemed to enjoy blasting me with holy light earlier, didn't you? A blood-curdling scream echoed across the mountain path. Looking at the glowing gear on the ground, Ni Yan smiled with satisfaction. Sure enough, it's the Fire Chaser set. The Fire Chaser set was a bronze-grade set. Perfect. I'll give this to Tang Yao since he's a fire mage. As for the rest of the gear, we can just sell it off. Next, he messaged Tang Yao. Where are you right now? Send me your coordinates. Tang Yao replied, I'm at 2313955285. There's a cave here and it's crawling with level 5 monsters. I'm hiding in a corner too scared to step out. Ni Yan replied, Hold on, I'm heading over right now. The scene shifts to Tang Yao. He gasped in shock when he saw the details on his screen. This is the Fire Chaser set, Ni Yan. Where on earth did you get this? Ni Yan smiled. I killed one of their red name players. This is his gear, so I might as well gift it to you. Tang Yao was ecstatic. Am I dreaming? You actually wiped out a red name player from Radiant Sacred Flame and snatched a whole Fire Chaser set. Ni Yan teased him. Have I ever lied to you? Tang Yao exclaimed. Holy crap, this is amazing. It feels so damn good to get back at them. Even if I die here today, it'll be totally worth it. Meanwhile, Ni Yan stood at the edge of a high cliff, his hair blowing in the wind. He called out, Wait for me. I'll deal with a few more of their guys and be right there. The scene cuts to birds flying across the sky as a group of players walks through the area. Suddenly someone cried out, Boss Dian Kang is dead. His companions were flabbergasted. How is that even possible? With Boss Dian Kang's strength and the Fire Chaser set, very few players could actually beat him, right? The player next to him agreed. Exactly. Boss Dian Kang's magic damage ranks in the top 10 of the guild and his skills are definitely no joke. If I remember correctly, the boss was a red name. If he died, what happened to all his gear? Wen Wei replied, You're right. Every single piece of his equipment dropped. Xia Ying wondered, Who could have done this to one of our own? It must have been a large group of people, right? Are they trying to start a guild war? He turned his head and said, The opponent was just a single thief. The other guy gasped, Just one person. He was utterly shocked. How is that even possible? Weren't there 3 of them with Boss Dian Kang? Wen Wei shuddered as he recalled Ni Yan's shadow. Yes, all 3 of them were taken down by a single thief, a level 3 thief. Xia Ying shrieked, This world has gone completely insane! Are you pulling my leg? Tianxia chimed in, A level 3 thief actually wiped out Boss Dian Kang's squad. He assured them, There's no mistake. This news was confirmed by Boss Dian Kang himself. Another asked, What's that thief's name? Wen Wei replied, His name is Nirvana Flame. He seems to be a teammate of Alpha's. Radiant Sacred Flame has already issued a kill order on him. Anyone who kills him even once will be rewarded with 5 silver coins. But Boss Dian Kang warned us to be extremely careful if we run into him. We need a party of at least 3 people just to stand a chance. Eavesdropping from behind a tree, Ni Yan fell silent. 5 silver coins, and I didn't realize I was worth that much. A kill order from Radiant Sacred Flame. This is getting interesting. Let's see how you guys plan on hunting me down. People like you only know how to use your guild's power to bully solo players. It's time to show you the true wrath of a solo player. Over on their end, Tianxia and his group were startled by a sudden noise he made. What was that sound? Could it be that thief? Seeing a monster charge toward them, they yelled, The Horned Deer Boss! Wen Wei stayed alert. There's supposed to be a horned deer around here, since we can't find that thief anyway. And that thief for now, we might as well deal with this horned deer boss first. Ni Yan's body began to fade into stealth. He smiled excitedly. Here's my chance. He commanded, "Charge! Bring it down quickly! We'll sell the gear and split the profit!" Wenwei summoned all his strength and charged at the horned deer. The two forces clashed in a battle of equal strength. Raising his shield to strike the deer, he yelled, "Hurry up and attack!" Hearing his call, the others rushed in to help, unleashing a barrage of attacks. The beast grew angrier and more powerful by the second. Someone shouted, "Watch us! We only need 30 seconds to take down this horned deer boss," but they had no idea that Nyan was stealthily creeping up on them. He raised his dagger high, struck decisively, and stunned two of them instantly. The scene descended into chaos filled with sudden, terrified screams. Nyan didn't stop unleashing an even more violent flurry of attacks. His target's health bar was almost depleted, prompting them to gasp, "An ambush!" But before he could even chug a health potion, Nyan's blade shattered his defenses. His body disintegrated into light as he gasped in disbelief. "How is this possible?" Nyan's speed surged as he finished off one enemy. The other player was left utterly bewildered. "What just happened? Where did my teammate go?" Before he could react, Nyan slashed him several times. Turning around, his face was pale with panic. He tried to fight back using holy judgment. Meanwhile, Wenwei grew anxious. "Wait, where's my team? Why was it so quiet?" Seeing the flash of holy light, he quickly realized, "Crap. We're being ambushed. It's probably that damn thief." Xiaoying asked anxiously, "What do we do now?" Tianxia panicked. "We're being squeezed from both sides. On top of that, we still have the horned deer boss's aggro." Wenwei commanded, "Regroup, first focus, and take down the boss. Then go back and kill that rogue." While attacking, Wen Yu shouted loudly, "Kill him!" Sahuin rushed in to assist with a linear slash. Having no strength left to fight back, the wild deer coughed up a mouthful of blood. They stood frozen, watching its massive body slowly collapse with a loud crash. Seeing this, Nyan was displeased. "What a waste. I'm still one step too late." Wen Yu's team had very little health left. Nyan analyzed their HP. Although it was low, 3 melee players sticking together was not something to be taken lightly. "I can't afford to take reckless risks right now." His expression turned grim. "2 more of our Radiant Sacred Flame Guild members have died at the hands of this rogue. That makes 5 already. I've already called for backup from the guild. Our people will be here soon." Nyan appeared with a faint smirk. "Are you serious? The 3 of you can't even handle one person. Are you too scared to come over? If you're not coming, then I'll be on my way." Wen Yu sneered, "I know exactly what you're thinking. You want to keep doing what you did before. Separate and ambush us. How naive. As long as the 3 of us stick together, you can't do a thing to us." Looking up, Nyan realized their backup was already on the way. They're just stalling. Nyan turned around to leave, waving his hand. "I'll play with you guys again next time." Wen Yu gasped and shouted in panic, "Oh no, he's running away! Our backup is here. Hold him." At that moment, Wen Yu gasped as a large group of players arrived. The leader looked at him and yelled, "Where did he go?" Wen Yu replied, "He ran off." Chaos erupted as the crowd rushed to give chase. Shouts echoed through the forest, "Search thoroughly! Don't let that punk get away." While they scrambled through the forest, Nyan moved stealthily through the shadows, eventually returning to the cliff from earlier to watch them. Nyan murmured to himself, "No one knows this terrain better than me. You'll never catch me. Let those Radiant Sacred Flame fools waste their time searching here. Let's go check on Tang Yao." Over here, Tang Yao was hiding. "Nyan, I'm inside the rock spider cave. The coordinates are 32238235. Outside, it's crawling with level 5 rock spiders. The Radiant Sacred Flame guys would never guess I'm hiding here." He gasped in shock when he saw Nyan. "How on earth did you get in here?" Nyan said calmly. "Using stealth, of course." "All right, equip this set first." Tang Yao was bewildered. "The Fire Chaser set for me," Nyan explained. "I took it from that Dian Kang guy in the Sacred Flame Guild. It suits you perfectly. Put it on quickly," he said excitedly. "Nyan, after putting on this Fire Chaser set, my spell damage has increased to 50. Nyan nodded. "Not bad. With this kind of spell damage? It's more than enough to run some high-difficulty dungeons. Follow me," Nyan said. In his mind, he thought, "If I remember correctly, there is a silver treasure chest inside the rock spider cave. Now that Tang Yao has the Fire Chaser set clearing, this will be easy." Following behind, Tang Yao asked curiously, "Nyan, what are you trying to do?" Nyan explained, "There is a silver treasure chest here. First, we need to clear out the rock spiders on our way." Nyan struck out his attacks swift and precise. His kill count for level 5 rock spiders was now 159 out of 160. On the side, Tang Yao immediately joined the battle. Casting Raging Flame, he unleashed a fierce blaze. Unleashed into the darkness, the rock spiders engulfed in flames began rapidly losing health. Tang Yao exclaimed, "We're fighting monsters 2 levels above us. Can my damage really be this high? Is this the true power of the Fire Chaser set?" Meanwhile, Ni Yan stabbed a spider to death. "Stop daydreaming and get over here and help!" With an excited expression, Tang Yao rushed forward. "I'm coming, brother. You're incredible. I really didn't think we could kill monsters 2 levels above us." Ni Yan dashed ahead, calling back, "Keep up." The battle immediately became a blur of chaotic attacks from both sides. A moment later, Tang Yao gaped. "Wow, it's really here, Ni Yan. How did you know there was a silver treasure chest here?" Ni Yan replied. "I saw it when I was passing by looking for you." Tang Yao frowned. "But neither of us has unlocked the lock-picking skill yet. What should we do?" "There must be some really valuable stuff in there." Ni Yan reassured him, "Don't worry. Conviction is very meticulously designed. Usually the key is hidden somewhere near the chest." At that moment, the rock spider boss appeared with a fierce screech. Shocked by the sight, Tang Yao cried out in panic. "It's the rock spider boss. What do we do that's a level 5 boss?" Ni Yan calmly said, "We kill it. Keep a distance of at least 20 yards. Squeeze into that narrow passage and don't wander too far or you'll aggro other rock spiders." Doing as he was told, Tang Yao replied, "Got it." He began casting his spell, shouting, "Stop chasing me, fireball!" The flames conjured by Tang Yao instantly threw the boss into chaos. Ni Yan analyzed, "Fire spells deal bonus damage to it. This is doable." Leaping into the air, Ni Yan shouted, "I'll keep it crowd-controlled. The rest is up to you." Tang Yao replied, "No problem." Ni Yan executed another stun to incapacitate it. Then Ni Yan yelled, "Quick, take this opportunity." Hearing this, Tang Yao unleashed his spell, "Take my fireball." As Ni Yan attacked, he remained on high alert. "Be careful. It's waking up." The Rock Spider King grows even more berserk and lunges straight at him. The clash of their blinding speeds kicks up a dust storm. Ni Yan mutters, "Trading blows just to hurt me. Is that your plan? Looks like it's pissed off. This guy just got buffed. Fall back and watch your step. Watch out for its spikes." Suddenly, Tang Yao lets out a sharp cry of pain. Sweat pours down his face as he thinks, "If Ni Yan hadn't warned me, I would have been impaled by now." Ni Yan yells, "Tang Yao, it's up to you. I'll hold it down. Drink a potion and wait for me while I buy you some time to get your mana back." He unleashes a fireball spell. My mana is fully restored. The Spider King's body is instantly engulfed in scorching flames. Leaping down from above, he delivers a devastating critical strike, driving his blade deep into the beast. The beast's health bar plunges, panting heavily. Tang Yao stares at the scene in awe. Is it finally over? Oh my god, that totally exhausted me. I can't believe we actually took down a rock spider boss 2 levels higher than us. Ni Yan, this is the first time I've realized how incredibly awesome I am. Right at that moment, Ni Yan reaches out to gather the loot. The fallen items are a meteor skill book, a parry skill book, and a silver key. He calls out, "Tang Yao, we're in luck." A meteor skill book dropped. This is a top-tier area of effect skill for high damage early on. Even in the mid to late game, it's still fantastic for clearing mobs. Overjoyed, he gasps, "Seriously?" Ni Yan nods. "Yeah, it's really good. Though compared to Holy Temple Magic, Giant Magic, or Dragon Tongue Magic, it's still a bit lacking." Stunned, Tang Yao blinks. "Wait, what the heck are Holy Temple Magic and Dragon Tongue?" "Dragon Tongue, Ni Yan, what on earth are you talking about?" He chuckles. "Nothing. You'll run into them eventually." Ni Yan walks ahead, saying, "Let's go open that treasure chest first." The silver key slides into the lock, and a system notification pops up, opening treasure chest. As the chest clicks open, they both stare in absolute disbelief. This is the Weaver's Ring. It's an incredible treasure for scaling walls, climbing trees, or leaping off cliffs. The screen softly glows, displaying the item's details. Tang Yao looks puzzled. "It looks like a piece of junk accessory. Why are you getting so worked up over it?" He replies, "To us thieves, this is practically a god-tier item. By the way, have you learned Meteor yet?" Surprised, he replies, "Yeah, I just did. Why do you ask?" Ni Yan grins. "Now it is time for you to show off your new Meteor spell. I'll go pull the mobs and you start chanting." Tang Yao nods. "Got it." As he darts forward, a massive horde of rock spiders is lured out. Terrified, Tang Yao gasps, "Oh my god, that is way too many." "Why does this spell take so long to chant?" Suddenly, Tang Yao summons a colossal sphere of fire. The sheer power of the meteor spell engulfs the entire cavern. Watching the spectacle, Nai Yan smiles, "Well done." Tang Yao stands there in utter shock. Did I really do that? How is this magic so insanely powerful? Did I seriously just cast that? Ni Yan walks over and nudges him. What are you standing around for? Come on, let's head deeper inside. With a sheepish laugh, Tang Yao replies, Nirvana Flame. My mana is completely dry. And I'm totally out of mana potions too. Ni Yan suddenly realizes, crap! I completely forgot that at your level, casting Meteor drains every last drop of your mana. He thinks to himself, if I remember correctly, deep within this rock spider cave lies a hidden, the single most important item in this entire game? Tang Yao suggests, maybe you should take me to a safe zone so I can teleport back to town. Otherwise, I'm just going to hold you back. Ni Yan nods. Yeah, that works. Taking this opportunity, I'll teach you a few tricks for arcane mages. Outside, as they make their way back, rain starts to drizzle. Tang Yao looks at him and says, Nirvana Flame, I've got to head out now. Thanks to you, this turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Not only did we avoid those guys, but I even learned the meteor spell. Ni Yan smiles warmly. Hey, that's what brothers are for. Left standing alone under the gloomy sky. Ni Yan turns back and heads deeper into the cave. He thinks to himself, I recall that at the very end of this rock spider cave lies a missing page from the Book of Order, something every single player dreams of obtaining. Legend has it that the Book of Order and the Book of Chaos are ancient artifacts passed down through generations representing the fundamental laws of the 6 continents. Each book has 6 volumes and 36 chapters representing 2 opposing forces. They are scattered across the world, and legend says whoever gathers them all will obtain ultimate divine power. That person will rule the Temple of Light as the Great Grand Pope. Meanwhile, whoever collects the chapters of Chaos will wield the terrifying destructive power of the Destroyer. Order leads to kingship and Chaos rules the dark. Both are legendary artifacts. Since the game, Conviction has only recently launched, only the Zelen and Satan's empires have been unlocked so far. The first volume of the Book of Order contains the chapters of Justice, Courage, Wisdom, Fairness, and Freedom. These chapters hold the greatest power a player could ever dream of wielding. It almost topped the leaderboards. In my past life, I remember the leaders of 3 super guilds relied on the chapters of Order to build their massive guilds. They achieved legendary feats back then, and now in this game, only I know the exact locations of these chapters of Order. Maybe in this lifetime, I can write my own legend. In my past life, the holder of the Chapter of Justice was the leader of the Angel Corps, an elf demon hunter named Angwing Angel. Back then, facing over 100 enemy players, he summoned 16 Knights of Justice and single-handedly wiped out their entire formation. Then there was the holder of the Chapter of Wisdom, the leader of the Holy Judgment Guild Emperor Killer, a holy word mage. During the undead invasion, he cast the forbidden spell, Brilliant Radiance. With a single cast, he purified over 300 necromancers, creating another immortal legend of the Chapter of Order. And the holder of the Chapter of Courage was the leader of the Holy Roman Empire, a berserker named Half-Awake Fox. In a massive guild war, he charged into the enemy lines alone, taking a life every 10 steps, slaying over 200 enemies and crushing everything in his path. And the Chapter of Courage is hidden right here. Just thinking about it makes my blood boil with excitement. Ni Yan looked at the spiders ahead. He realized the sound of rushing water meant 3 rock spider bosses were blocking the way. A splash echoed in the water. Using his water-repelling bead, he dived in. I remember there's a hidden chest down here. In my past life, it wasn't discovered until mid-game. Right now, players on the forums are still discussing it. Naya Yan looked closer. It is a gold chest. This is the mark of pirates from the era of shared rule. They used to operate in the Tantrock Sea. I can't believe this is a gold chest left behind from that era. This is even rarer than a regular gold chest. I'm rich. Then the system notification popped up. Opening chest. Unidentified Assassin's Discipline dagger. He muttered, Assassin's Discipline, and it's a dagger I've never seen before. Judging by its design and aura, this dagger must be at least gold grade. Even if I don't find the Chapter of Courage, this trip is already a win. Beneath the deep water, Ni Yan's small figure glided through. A moment later, he surfaced from the deep water. Stepping lightly onto the shore, Ni Yan looked around and marveled, I didn't expect the depths of this rock spider cave, and to hold such a wondrous place. Then Ni Yan walked straight ahead. A system notification chimed, You have discovered a thick chronicle within the mystical forest. When you touch it, A mysterious power will flow into your body. What is this? Full of curiosity, he flipped the pages which were covered in mystical silver-engraved runes. It was the buried history of the era of shared rule, written in 3 languages: Ancient Giant, the Common Tongue, and the Dragon Tongue. He memorized every single piece of history. System notifications flooded his screen with items received. Ni Yan then read the page Chapter of Courage. The holder of this item. It gains 2 skill points every 5 levels, gets ultra-strong perception, and the Archangel's judgment skill. He gasped, "Oh my god, this effect is insane! No wonder in my past life when half-awake Fox got the Chapter of Courage." He could slaughter over 200 players alone. It really is a legendary item. But from now on, I have to be extremely careful when farming monsters or PKing. If I die, the Chapter of Courage will drop, unless I can collect all 6 chapters to bind the Book of Orders first volume. Only then will it be safe from dropping. But for a heaven-defying legendary item like this, why? The system should have set up an incredibly powerful guardian. Why hasn't it appeared yet? Instead, it just let me walk away with the Chapter of Courage so easily. Just like that. Suddenly, the ground began to tremble. Ni Yan gasped, "Oh no! Taking the Chapter of Order must have alerted the guardian. The lake entrance is blocked." Making a split-second decision, he thought, "I have to get out of here fast." Reaching out with his silk spinner's ring, Ni Yan shot a web to grab the cliffside, landing gracefully onto a ledge. Behind him, a massive explosion erupted as a giant beast emerged. Ni Yan recognized it instantly, the guardian of the Chapter of Order. Its swift, imposing silhouette caught his eye. System notification. Order Sentry. The monster unleashed a devastating wave of energy toward him. Dodging the attack, Ni Yan thought, "At my level, if I get hit by just one, I'll be dead in one hit. I have to make it back to the town to be safe." But in the southern border town, everyone must be in a panic. What on earth is happening? The system broadcasted a regional announcement. A dragon creature has appeared in the south border town. Everyone was terrified by the alert. What is going on? Why did a dragon creature suddenly appear? Heavy, hurried footsteps approached. It was the Holy Crusaders. In the midst of the panicking residents, all the NPCs had already assembled. A dragon creature has appeared. What in the world is going on? As Ni Yan ran, he gasped, "Oh no, it spotted me." He pushed himself to move faster and faster. Suddenly, the monster launched a surprise attack in the forest, but luckily Ni Yan managed to dodge it. Gritting his teeth, he thought, "I'm almost there, just a little longer." Shooting a web to anchor himself to a tree, Ni Yan glanced back at the monster as he ran. The beast opened its massive jaws, breathing out a wave of fire. Seeing it get hit in return, someone cheered, "Awesome! The NPCs are attacking it!" But the beast roared, the sound echoing through the entire area. Commander Nishad drew his bow. The soldiers whispered, "Commander Nishad, sir, the defense line has been established. Please, give the order to bring these foolish, evil dragon beasts to the Holy Crusaders' judgment." The beast turned back toward the town. Someone screamed, "It's coming this way!" It glared at everyone with pure, savage rage. The sky filled with falling meteors. Everyone panicked in despair. Is this a skill we can even hope to survive? What is that sound? A level 1 earthquake warning. Everyone run. Get out of here quick, or we're going to die. The commander gives the order, and the primary defensive barrier activates. A massive shield envelops the entire city, blocking the falling flames and bringing hope to the rejoicing citizens. Thank goodness the shield is holding. He immediately orders the soldiers to draw their bows. A massive, terrifying volley of arrows rains down, all aiming straight at the beast. The fierce attack rains down on the beast. Long live the Holy Crusaders! Enraged by the assault, the beast roars in fury and swings its massive arm down. The barrier is about to shatter. Watching from a distance, Ni Yan analyzes the situation. Although the Guardian of Order's appearance has thrown most players into a panic, a few greedy eyes are already locked onto it. They're waiting for the NPCs to wear it down before rushing in to steal the gear. On the other hand, I see a few familiar faces. That's Splendid Star, the guild leader of Splendid Temple. He's a very honorable guy, and we go back a bit in my past life. Then there's Swift Slash, the leader of the Dark Massacre Guild. That guy is a total thug. He is completely untrustworthy. And there's Sleepy Fox, the one who held the Chapter of Courage in my past life. Unfortunately for him, I beat him to it in this life. Splendid Star then speaks to Swift Slash. "Since our Splendid Temple is here, you guys from Dark Massacre should just step aside. Don't look so bitter. I hit level 5 before you did, and I already led my team to clear the Traint Forest and the Black Flame Forest. You can't compete with me. Swift / retorts, your splendid temple. So what if you cleared the Black Flame Forest? Your rating was only 68. Your guild honor is only 200 points higher than ours. We'll catch up to you in no time. Stop acting so smug. Boss, let's fight them. Let's wipe them out. Ni Yan stands at a distance watching the situation unfold. Violent explosions erupt everywhere as the beast desperately tries to break the barrier. Then a dark voice echoes, for the honor of the Crusaders. In the name of the Commander, I sentence this evil dragon. A blade infused with dark energy thrusts forward, stabbing straight into the beast. Look, the Guardian of Order is losing health. Quick, grab the loot. Everyone's eyes grow tense. As soon as the word is given, they all charge forward. He doesn't hesitate either, entering stealth to join the fray. It's mine. But at that moment, a fiery strike hits his neck. Jia Cheng yells, stop them! He leaps past the crowd, rushing straight to the front with an excited look on his face. It's mine! In your dreams. Bind the scene descends into utter chaos as everyone scrambles to snatch the gear. I guess I won't be able to get the gear after all. If that's the case, might as well go with the flow. Swift / slows down to dodge a volley of arrows, allowing Jicheng to slip right past him. Jicheng doesn't forget to look back with a smirk. Thanks, brother. Nai Yan replies. What a pity. We got absolutely nothing out of this. Let's go. Kid, you think you can just walk away like that? Aren't you getting off a bit too easy? His men quickly surround him. Nai Yan calmly asks, what's this? You want to keep me here? Jia Kang replies. Swift / if you want to cause trouble for him, you'll have to see if our splendid temple agrees first. Our splendid temple isn't afraid of your dark massacre guild. Swift / snarls in irritation. Fine. None of you are leaving here alive today. Sleepy Fox bursts into laughter. Well, it looks like this is none of my business. The subordinate beside him whispers, Boss, that thief is Nirvana Flame, the expert I told you about. He's the one who gave me the strategy guide for the fallen shaman's camp. Sleepy Fox looks surprised. Judging by the way he moved to steal the gear earlier, this guy's skills are top-notch. Stone asks, Boss, what should we do now? Sleepy Fox calls out, Hey, brother Nirvana Flame, our Holy Empire Guild is planning to run the Igmota Muddy Wetlands in a few days. Are you interested in joining us? Swift / is utterly shocked by the invitation. Even Ya Cheng is taken aback by the offer. Ni Yan thinks, Flying Stone, so he's from the Holy Empire. He speaks up, No problem. But I have one condition. Any thief gear or items that drop in the dungeon that I can use must go to me first. The crowd starts whispering, Is that kid crazy? Does he not see the situation he's in? How does he dare to make demands of Sleepy Fox at a time like this? Who does he think he is? What if they decide not to help him? But why? Would that guild leader invite him to run a dungeon? A subordinate whispers to Sleepy Fox, Leader, he's really crossing the line. We're clearly trying to bail him out here, yet he has the nerve to make demands. He's truly arrogant. Sleepy Fox smiles. You're absolutely right. This kid is incredibly arrogant. I had my doubts about him being a true expert before, but now I'm completely convinced. Only a real expert would dare to speak with such confidence. Maybe he actually has some real skills. No problem, brother Ni Yen. You can have first pick of any thief gear that drops. The crowd mutters in shock. No way is that for real. Is that for real? Who on earth is that kid to actually get Sleepy Fox to agree to a condition like that? A subordinate whispers, Boss, our situation is a bit tricky right now. We can't go up against two guilds at the same time. Sleepy Fox then added, Brother Swift / spare me some face here. Let's just forget about what happened today. Swift / replied, Since guild leader Sleepy Fox has already put it that way, then I'll let it go. He coldly turned around and walked away. Let's go. Ya Kang spoke up. Brother, I had no idea you were close with the guild leader of the Holy Empire. Thanks for your help today. Otherwise, I would never have gotten my hands on that gear. Ni Yan replied, No, you're overthinking it. Sleepy Fox chimed in, Brother Splendid Star, your harvest today wasn't bad, was it? He replied, Don't even mention it. Honestly, this gear is pretty useless right now. The first piece that dropped was the courage armor, he continued. Even though it's a very rare gold-grade item, you need to be level 100 to use it. Who knows how long we'll have to wait before we can actually wear it. Ya Kang agreed. Yeah, everyone's level is way too low right now. Even if we put it up for sale, nobody would buy it. It looks like we'll just have to keep it in the guild vault and treat it as a guild treasure. Stone then walked over to chat. Hey, expert, we meet again. Next time I'll finally get to run dungeons with you. Na Yan replied. Thanks for your help today as well. Sleepy Fox called out, Brother Nyan, can we add each other as friends? That way I can message you whenever we run a dungeon. Stone chimed in. Count me in too. Nyan smiled. I didn't expect that in this lifetime I'd end up befriending them by pure chance. He turned to leave. Well, since this matter is settled, I'll take my leave first. See you next time. The scene changes. Nyan murmured, finally I have some time to identify this dagger. He sat down and focused, ignoring the stream of system notifications. Nyan said, it's an offhand weapon. As expected of a gold-grade item, even at level 5, it gives over 30 attack points. Once I reach level 5 and learn dual wielding, I'll be able to equip it. With gear like this, my damage output will go up by a lot. As crowds of players walked through the bustling small town, Nyan thought, I still have half an hour of game time left. I should take this opportunity to finish Physician Blevins' quest. He was transported to a new location, the Fishman tribe. Nyan observed the Fishman tribe has already been wiped out. The people from the Victorious Return Guild are actually pretty fast. These solo players probably have some fine silk left. Since time is short, I should just buy it directly from them to save time. Next, Nyan made his way to Sanbao Lake. He greeted the respected physician. Respected physician, the old man replied. Young man, you've arrived? How is the task I entrusted to you coming along? Nyan replied, I found them. Here are the 90 pieces of fine silk you need. I hope this helps. The physician said excitedly, finally enough fine silk tomorrow I can return to Huan's stronghold. The brave warriors of Huan's stronghold will remember what you have done for them. May the holy light bless you, kind and righteous adventurer. The darkness will eventually be vanquished, and light shall envelop the earth. Nyan replied, may the gods protect the brave warriors guarding Huan's stronghold. The physician responded, these items are a token of my sincere gratitude. Kind and righteous adventurer, I wish you a safe journey. Looking at the popping up screen notifications, Nyan exclaimed, another gold-grade item. He concluded, my experience points have already reached 98%. It's a pity today's game time is running out. I'll just have to wait until tomorrow to level up. As Nyan's silhouette faded into the surroundings, his body gradually became translucent before he was transported back to reality. He took off his gaming helmet. Nyan murmured, not just in the game, but in the real world I also need to level myself up. As he worked out, he thought, I can't afford to be lazy in this lifetime. Nyan began doing push-ups. Maybe I should go find a gym to use some proper machines and test my current physical strength.